A hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you, Kini. Here we are. We are starting the last session of G4G UP for 2020. I am very excited and thankful that all of you are here. I'm excited for the mentees who've shown up, who've paid their bum price and have been in almost every session. And we are going to crown this session off with graduation once we are done with all the other proceedings. I want to heartily welcome Prof Kupe in our midst. I did mention last time that he's going to join us today, and indeed he's in the room, and we are very thankful for that. We also have our keynote inspirational speaker for the session, and I will introduce her later. So I'll, keep you hanging a bit around that one. We are very, very thankful that we've gone through this journey, and here we are. We've had 5 lovely sessions, and we are now going to round it off, and I believe with a gem. We have a jam-packed program for today, and I hope that we will work with time very wisely so that we manage to go through all the items lined up for us. I am going to ask Priscilla to display the program so that each one of us is aware of how the proceedings will run. And after we've seen the program, and I'll just introduce it briefly, we will then do our Sisters Pledge. And I would like a mentee, one of the mentees, to be ready to help us read through the pledge when we are done with the program. So Priscilla, can you portray the program? Thank you so much. As you can see, we are starting now with the opening and welcome. We will do the G4G prayer / pledge, and then we will go into a session, a small slot where we have a director from G4G South Africa talking to us, and then we'll go into the address by the VC, Prof Thuli, and after him we will then have our keynote speaker for the day. And when we are done with that, we'll have a Q&A session, and then have our body break, and then go into our mentorship circles. After the mentorship circles, we'll come back into plenary and then go into the graduation ceremony, as I said, to crown off all the proceedings that we've had and all the learnings that we've enjoyed throughout this journey. So thank you, Priscilla. Can I get a volunteer MNT to help us read through the Sisters Pledge? Who do I have? Anyone to volunteer? Mentees, please help. I'm watching, I'm not seeing any hand. Oh yes, Akuzwe, please go on and lead us through. We will follow after you as you read. Thank you.
Cool, thank you, Prof. So I am my sister's keeper.
I am my sister's
keeper. I will build my sister up.
I will build my sister up.
Encourage her.
Encourage her.
Empower her.
Empower her.
I have no reason to talk about her.
I have no reason
to talk about her.
To tear her down.
To tear her
down.
To be jealous of her.
To be jealous of her.
Or to compete with her.
Or to compete with her.
I am going to stand behind her and help her push her into her destiny.
I am going to stand behind her and help her into her destiny.
Thank you so much. That was the Dancing Queen. We really appreciate you leading us through this Sisters Pledge, and that is how we start our day. I'm not going to take more time because you've seen the program. This session for today is about ethics and the values that you stand for. So we are going to be exploring that theme until the end. And you will note that it is that session that we have dubbed Stand Up, hashtag Stand Up, which means we expect every leader to stand up for what they believe, for their values. And even when you get tested, you get tried, even when you get to a place where you feel like it's a crossroad, do I turn left or right? Do I proceed or do I go back? At that crossroad, when you experience those ethical and moral dilemmas, there must be a platform on which you stand, your values, your beliefs, and your ethics. And you should never compromise your values in the decisions that you take. So that is the theme for today. But before we go more into the theme, I would like to invite one of the directors who's leading the G4G movement in South Africa at this stage. She's actually the founder of the movement in South Africa, Ms. Rita Mutlana, to talk us briefly about, where are we in this journey, especially in relation to this international movement called G4G. Over to you, Ms. Mutlana.
Okay. So guys, let's get settled with the usual G4G. Hi, everybody. Let's show Professor Coupe as well as our speaker how we do it. Hi. And put on your microphones. Let's say a big hi. Yay. Hi. Hi, everyone. Fantastic. You're all looking lovely. Thank you for donning, the G4G pink. Good, let's get started. I'm going to kind of like do a brief introduction. Just there are a number of people that are joining us on the live stream YouTube. I believe Kinney is going to put the link in the chat. You can share it with your mothers, your sisters, your aunties, all the women that inspire you, so that today they're walking our final G4G session with you. As well as kind of like to, do a recap. At the start of the UP G4G journey, we had Professor Coupe, give us a message. I think it's only fair that we explain to him, where it is that we have come from, so that he's with us as we talk about graduation. So who is G4G? Girls for Girls is a global mentoring program, like we all know. My understanding is that as of June, we are in 21 countries with 2,000 mentees that have been graduated. Today, we shall be adding 64 to that number. And we have about 700 mentors that have been trained. So it's a global movement, only started in 2017. In South Africa, it started in 2019. We are pleased to have been in University of Johannesburg, Athlone Girls, THMC, Westbury High. But University of Pretoria is particularly important to us because this is the biggest cohort we have ever run. We went online, we were forced to go online because of the COVID lockdown. Historically, our sessions are in person. So Girls for Girls was set up to simply, our tagline is empower girls to lead. It was set up by Harvard University students who, having campaigned for Hillary Clinton, felt, why is it that women are still not breaking there? We're educated, technically competent, a few places have been given to women, but we just don't seem to be making the leap that we need to. And that's how the program was born. The journey that we have walked has been the 6th modular program. Today is the 6th one. So we all started off with building trust, to crush that disbelief, or rather that negative phenomena that women don't work together. The first thing we did is we said, let's set up circles, and did it the African way, whereby we form villages around each other and we listen to wisdom around us. And then we moved on to courageous leadership, where we looked introspectively. What is our vision? What is our value system? Which is going to come back today, to say, what does it take to not only have leadership skills, but to be able to act on the leadership skills? In session 3, we had the art of communication, and I think UP was proud to have one of its older students, Puno, the word artist, who came and shared with us the skills for effective communication. We then moved on to negotiations, where we were now building on, yes, we can communicate, but how do you start to win people over? Which takes us back to the founding of Girls for Girls. It's not just about us saying we are leaders, but we understand and recognize that we have an agenda that we are trying to change, which led us into session 5, running for office. In other words, we are not going to try and work individually. We're going to capitalize and leverage on the skills we have learned and identify social agenda, things we want to change in our environment. And listening to you, the UP girls, it was fantastic to hear you talk about issues that were relevant for you. I think gender-based violence, which is something G4G has been trying to address, came out tops. It's clearly an issue that we want to address. So we are hoping that as you go forward, we are able to have given you a platform off of which to propel yourselves. And then today it's about ethics and values. If you talk to people like Alan, one of the founders, the actual founders of Girls for Girls, it is one of the topics that is dear to us, because ethics and values is not a standalone module. It cuts through everything you have done. And I'm urging all the girls from UP today to think about how it impacts everything you've done. When we talked about courageous leadership, what did we say? You start off on defining your value system. We said, what is your mission? What is your value system? So as a leader, you're going to have that base, that value system to be defined, that defines you as a leader that is able to engage with people and fight for a cause that is worthy. Having a value system is also what allows you to communicate and to negotiate better. Remember, we said that as an effective negotiator, you need to first know you yourself. What are you negotiating for? But how do you define that? What is your authentic self, and what is the basis for which you are negotiating? Whatever the negotiation is about, it is your value system again that becomes very important. When you're running for office, people will challenge you and say, why you? Or why should we follow you? Again, it's going to be your value system. So today is a day of reflection. We want to understand, what is ethics and values about? Ethics and values is really about the fact that every leader is going to one day face moral dilemmas, ethical dilemmas. They're going to be those very tough decisions that have to be made. And that's why we have in the room today someone who has been through that, who can share with us her pain and what it is that she took, but also how she got out of it. We have a framework under G4G where we talk about assessing options and knowing there are always options, but for each option, assessing what the potential outcomes are in the short term, the negative, the pros and the cons for it. But we cannot do better than listening to the speaker that we have today, which is Professor Thuli Madonsela. Now, the other thing I think that is important to highlight, I think especially for the speaker and for Professor Cooper, is that why Girls for Girls is a bit different from the other traditional mentoring programs is the methodology that G4G applies. The first thing that we do is the circles. You've heard me talk about them, and you'll probably hear the girls say, I'm from Impokodo, or I am from She Can, Girls Rule, that type of thing. At the beginning, we set the girls up in circles. So rather than doing a broad mentoring where we have 60 girls that are involved, we break up into circles and we create those networks around the girls. I think it's about 6 to 8 girls. So that is something that is unique. I think it's actually uniquely African. It reminds me of, the grandmother or the auntie with a lot of wisdom who sits and then the nieces are all around her. And that's how we learn. But the other pillar that we talk about under Girls for Girls and that we promote as part of our methodology is the telling of stories. So rather than having traditional PowerPoints where we walk in and we say, this is what you do, we really just want to hear from the heart. So for example, today we're going to want to hear from Professor Madonsela. What is it that you went through? What are the few words of wisdom you can share with the girls? How to guide yourself when you're faced with a moral or an ethical dilemma. That feeling of anguish and loneliness, how did you pull out of it? Do you have a village? Where did you draw your strength and your courage from? And that is how we impart wisdom, not by being instructive, but rather engaging with the girls and talking with the girls. The young women have a lot of wisdom themselves that they share. The third pillar that the G4G leverages on is networking. So we come together. Some people are here from Eswatini, who were laughing the other day. Some are here from Mpumalanga. So we're coming from different places. Even amongst UP itself, you have girls from the law department engaging now with girls from the accounting departments. Their paths might never have crossed. I'm originally from Uganda. The girls who say to me, we never knew we'd meet a person from East Africa. So it's a whole mix of things, and we come together in a very lovely way, whereby in one room we're able to share so much. It's not restricted to South Africa. We also engage with ladies in other countries. When we did our first online session, it's G4G Kenya, that we said, how did you do it? We learn from each other, we share with each other. And I think the commitment we give each other is that if one day we have Nobusu to leaving South Africa, going to Kenya, and she says, I know no one there. No, you will know people because there's a G4G network. So that is kind of like a high level of what G4G is about. It's also about, you know, the journey that we have taken to date. Before I close off, I would like to particularly thank the Vice Chancellor. You hold the singular record of being the only male that has entered a G4G circle, at least in South Africa. But we are having you because, yeah, blessings, huh? We do the pula. We are having you today because when I think back, the first time that I met you, I walked into your office. I thought it was going to be a tall order trying to convince you to adopt Girls for Girls in University of Pretoria. And in 10 minutes, you were very clear. You were like, I'm taking it because the young women are important to me. And it wasn't, you were not giving us rota. You started telling us small stories. And I was like, he actually belongs, you know, to G4G. So to have you impart your words of wisdom and support at the start of the program, and also to come and do it now as we are closing off, we cannot thank you enough. And you stand tall, I think, amongst your male peers. We hope more people can join you. We thank Dr. Matete and the team for the incredible job that they have done seamlessly running these sessions. And again, Vice Chancellor Kupe, it's you, I think in those 10 minutes you said, the lady for you is Dr. Madiba. And I see why you decisively, you know, were able to do that. So we thank Matete and the team, Priscilla, for having done the excellent job that they have done to date. So as I close off, I'd just like to ask you guys, put on your mics and let us do the hashtag thing. Let us call out for all the modules that we have done. Today, let us listen and let us learn from Professor Madonsela so that we can be courageous in each leadership position that each of you, the young mentees, take going forward. We want you to stand. We want you to stand up. There we go. Okay. And that you will use the communication and the negotiation skills to speak up. Right. And that, like Professor Madonsela, we're inspired to serve for our South Africa and run for office and step up. Right. So I'm wishing you all the best as you go forth, as you set up your new villages. Let us work to build South Africa up. Okay. So today, for the ethics and values, it is hashtag stand up. Okay. Thank you very much. May we have a good session. Thank you, Matete.
Thank you, Ms. Motlana. Pula haine. That's our blessing tag. We are really honored and thankful. And Prof Kupe, the up at the end of every hashtag is actually UP. So it's that double sense. We want to go up and up, build up, stand up, rise up, hold up. But it is also about doing this within this enabling environment within UP. And mentees, you are really blessed to be growing in such an environment. I would like now to call our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Prof Tawana Kupe, to come and give us his words of inspiration. I must just say he has truly championed the cause for us to have G4G at UP, and we are so indebted to him. He has supported the initiation of the project from that time by allowing it to start here, but throughout until now. And mentees, you are truly blessed to be enjoying this type of leadership. Over to you, Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Madiba, and for the invitation, and also thank you to Rita Motlana. I'm going to be, because of the things that Dr. Madiba said and and Rita has said, I'm now confused about what to say. So first, I appreciate your complimentary words. They are really kind words. Given that essentially as a male Vice Chancellor and as a male person, I occupy the space of privilege in our unequal gender relations. So if you like, one reason why I immediately accepted when Prof Thuli wrote to me and then they agreed to have a meeting and she said she would bring Rita with her. In a sense, I saw a opportunity to absolve myself a little bit from the privilege. In other words, there was no way in which one could actually say no, knowing what one knows about our situation of gender inequality and underrepresentation of women in positions of power, influence, and control of society, if you like. It would have been simply immoral to then say, no, we're not going to have G4G here, knowing what we know. As you know, at UP, 55% of our students are actually female. And so you can say in that very narrow sense of numbers, we've achieved gender equality. But of course, things change when you go further up. If you look at the leadership of the university, we did have a female vice chancellor before me for about 10 years. But in general, female leadership in the university is not what is common. As Dr. Madiba will know, at her level, many of the directors, it's improved much better, but many of the directors are male. So, for example, 33% of our full professors only 33% of our full professors are female, and professors occupy an influential leadership role. Of the 10 faculties we have, only 3 females are deans, the 2 Elsa B's and Professor Ntavise Ngogude. We had a 4th woman. She was the leader of our business school, which is a bit unusual, but she finished her term and then she immigrated to Amsterdam. So we have this situation where you look at any level of leadership. In my executive, it's not that bad, but still the majority are men. We have 3 women in the executive of the university, plus the 3 deans. And so clearly addressing gender inequality in the university is something that, whether I like it or not, I have to do, but also it's something that I would like to do, because I believe that to improve the institution and therefore our society, we need to achieve gender equality. It is a basis upon which we are going to achieve other things, including genuinely defeating discrimination and having a society that is pro-justice, pro-equality, pro-equity, and also where all of our energies, male or female, working together without the violent and the inequalities, we can actually create a better society. So that's, if you like, that's why the reason why I felt UP cannot not be part of G4G, and we have to be in that space. I'm delighted to hear that, and thanks, Dr. Madiba, that you explained the app at the end, because I was going to start off there and say, yeah, I like it that you guys say stand up, because you are saying stand up UP, or you are talking up UP, and that is good, but it's in a double sense. But I'm also glad to hear that we have the largest group of G4G circles in South Africa. And not simply because you know how boys are, and being a man, I'm a boy. They like saying my car is bigger than yours, my house is bigger than yours, all of that. I think for me, big means something else. It's about the critical mass and scale we need. We need so many hands to get at these issues of gender equality, women in leadership, women driving change and society. That the more than not only just the merrier, the more the better, and the more is what we need. So it's critical mass and scale that we need. And movements often achieve much more when they achieve that critical mass and that scale. Because in a sense, no corner of society is left untouched. and the movement's values begin to influence the values of society. And that's what we really need. You have seen sometimes a campaigns led by men called Million Men March. And so you need like millions of women march. And I think G4G is a vehicle for creating such a movement that will transform our society. I have said before, Dr. Madiba, I know how I can go on. So when you want me to end, and I'm left with 5 minutes, just raise your hand and say, shut up, go away now. You are lucky in the first place that you are the only man, as Rita said, allowed in the G4G circles. Now you want to dominate the space. That is meant for you. But why is this important? I think it's important. I've said why it's important to me personally in the leadership of such an institution. But I think it's important also for every of the women or the girls that are in the circles, because it will contribute to their personal development and make them discard any doubts they might have personally, any doubts instilled by society about the fact that they can be anything that they want and they can occupy leadership roles at any level, including being president of the country or whatever, being secretary general of the UN or chairman of the AU, and whatever leadership position. It must be instilled in every young girl as they grow, and a young woman, as and older women, that the sky is the limit, and that both men and women will remove all of the barriers that stand in the way of women achieving the best they can. So I think it's important for the personal development of students at UP. And I believe as Vice Chancellor that the university doesn't owe a student just a good degree. It owes the student all of the circumstances and all of the nurturing abilities to make them a fully rounded, socially responsive, sensitive person, a person who's ethical and has the values of not just their own self-interest, but the best interests of society and the best interests of those who are not privileged, who are underrepresented, and who suffer various forms of social injustice. So it's an empowerment. So it's an a Girls for Girls for me is a wonderful personal empowerment scheme. And this links into our big anti-discrimination policy we passed last year. We have a very comprehensive anti-discrimination policy. But what it needs is programs on the ground, and not just university-led programs. It needs also programs coming externally, like G4G, and then taken up by our officials like Dr. Madiba, and institutionalized into UP, and linking and networking, as Rita says, with other movements outside. Because when you, the students, leave the university, you'll be part of larger society. And you need those networks for sharing, for peer support, and all of that. So it's important. Institutionally, I see G4G as one of our transformation drivers, driving particularly the important values and practices of living in a diverse society, living in a diverse community, and diversity not meaning simply in the quantitative sense, but living also in an inclusive society where people, or community, where people co-create new institutional cultures that are without discrimination and that valorize equality, equity, ethical living, a value-laden life, and also contribution beyond the self to broader society. So at the institutional level, what I'm looking for to implement the anti-discrimination policy is champions at every level of various kinds. And G4G just came in at the right time. In fact, G4G might have been started at UP a little earlier than the comprehensive anti-discrimination policy was passed. Then also at the societal level, it's important. We have a responsibility to, if you like, for students, as I said, to have personally so developed that they are a value to society when they join the greater society. And this links to something else that I'm driving at the level of all universities, where, by the way, there are only 4 female vice chancellors out of the 26 universities. So I was given the responsibility to write a concept note on reimagining South African higher education. So I went further with a colleague called Dr. Gerald Ouma, and wrote a whole paper about how we should reimagine South African higher education and embed certain values in it. Anti-discrimination, fighting for social justice, valuing diversity and inclusivity, and contributing greater impact to societal change. So I also then did a paper for UP called Reimagining UP in a Reimagined Higher Education. And there I say that one of the central things that must be there is substantive transformation that comprehensively addresses GBV and any other forms of social discrimination. Now, I'll stick to the gender dimension here given our focus today. Because a university that is marked by the inequalities of society, I think is, in my view, greatly undermined in the message and in the way in which it prepares, develops students to be active agents of change in society. So it's like the doctor must heal themselves before they try and heal others, or must do it at the same time, and that has much more meaning. So we must also all reimagine a better South Africa and a better Africa, where equity and equality is taken for granted, where people actually pursue an ethical and value-led life, where you want to add value, not take from society. So not corruption, not self-aggrandizement, not leadership for leadership's sake, and not using leadership to oppress other people. Using leadership, in essence, to clear the ground for other people to achieve their full potential as you achieve your own full potential. So for me, the G4G is, that's why when Dr. Matete asked me both previously when I couldn't because of Choose UP Day, when I had to make an address to 10,000 prospective matrix and their parents, I recorded that video. I said I will record a video, and then and also get another chance to come, and it came faster than I thought. So to round off there, I think that it is very important, and G4G, from what I heard from Rita and what I've heard from Dr. Madiba, is that it's a movement for solidarity, it's a movement for sharing, it's a movement for mutual support, and those things are often in short supply in society, and especially among those who suffer underrepresentation and inequality. If people can recover those things, it is to a value system which says you are not alone, you are with others, and working with others, you can actually defeat those things that undermine you personally, but actually if you look a little on your left, on your side, behind you and in front of you, you find many like you, and together you can become a force for good and a force for change. So, and also being a force for good and a force for change, essentially you are able actually in essence to be an agent of change in society. So I'm hugely hopeful. I'm hugely energized personally myself. So many people took up the G4G challenge that you go on, as I understood when Rita came to see me at my office with Pale, that you also further on can create other G4G circles or groups and also expand this particularly marvelous movement. So, and I must end here by saying, of course, I'm so happy that Professor Thuli Madonsela is here. When I go to a B4B meeting later, boys for boys, it's not really exactly like this. We'll just be having a drink or so. I'm going to post to them that, you know, you guys, I started the day with meeting G4G, and then also there was Thuli Madonsela. A month ago, I actually hosted it again. And yesterday or the day before, she sent me a WhatsApp on the paper that I wrote. And the boys will be saying, no, get a life. You are now gaming too much. You talk as if you are always with Thuli Madonsela. I'm like, it's true. Have a look at my WhatsApp. Have a look at my diary. Have a look at how many times I've spoken to G4G. And I'll tell them, for that reason, I'm a better boy than you. Thank you very much, and good luck in your journey.
Prof, oh, I'm mute. Thank you so much, Prof. We know that we are led, but we are also supported. We really appreciate your words of affirmation for this journey that we are walking. And I wish that I could say it 100 times. Mentees, you are truly blessed. But note this, we are also trend setters. You know, we are working so hard within this movement G4G, and now we are inspiring others to have a B4B type of camaraderie. So we wish them luck as they imitate us, as we provide the leadership. So girls, you're doing very well. Showers your way. Prof, we really appreciate. And this just sends a lot of wind beneath our sails. There is no reason why we should even stop here. We should be driving this movement further and further. And I am pleased that you're connecting the dots. You see it as part of driving transformation at UP, which is also something very close to my heart. And I believe that indeed, if we keep on pushing this way, UP will be the kind of university that achieves a lot, and not just for its own sake, but also for the society at large, and make a substantial contribution internationally. So thank you so much. I'm glad that we are ahead of our time, and I would like us to keep it that way because we have a very jam-packed program for today. I would like us now to keep on changing, I guess, from low to medium to high to the highest. And we are getting to that part of the program where we are going to have our inspirational guest speaker talking to us. We are so honored today to have Prof and Advocate Thuli Madonsela in our midst. As we were welcoming her into the room, she said to us, when we said welcome, she said, I am honored to be in your midst. And I said, Prof, you're challenging me, you're tempting me actually to run a contest. Who's more honored than who? But we are so blessed to have Prof Thuli in our midst. Prof Thuli Madonsela is an advocate of the High Court of South Africa. She is the Law Trust Chair in Social Justice and a law professor at the University of Stellenbosch, where she conducts and coordinates social justice research and teaches constitutional and administrative law. Some students are really lucky to be taught by a professor of this caliber. She is the founder of the Tuma Foundation, an independent democracy, leadership, and literacy public benefit organization, and convener of the Social M Plan, a Marshall Plan-like initiative aimed at catalyzing progress towards ending poverty and reducing inequality by 2030, in line with the National Development Plan, the NDP, and Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. Prof Thuli Madonsela is a multiple award-winning legal professional with over 50 national and global awards. I must confess, I found this to be mind-blowing. 50 national and global awards. That's who she is, and that is what she has done over her lifetime. Prof Thuli Madonsela has 8 honorary Doctor of Laws degrees, one of which was awarded by the Law School of Canada. So yes, that is the caliber of the inspirational speaker that we have today. And a lot of us came to know her when she was the Public Protector of South Africa from 2009 to 2016. She is credited with transforming the institution, that is the Public Protector Office as an institution, by enhancing its effectiveness in promoting good governance and integrity, including ethical governance and anti-corruption in state affairs. We are so fortunate today to have her to address us, especially on this theme, where we are encouraging and inspiring one another as girls to stand up for our ethics, for our morals, for our values, for what we believe in. What, a role model do we have in Prof Thuli to be leading this type of thinking and to be inspiring us and sharing with us nuggets out of her life story? Prof Thuli, over to you. Oh yes, showers, blessings. Please unmute. Prof, please unmute. You are muted.
That's a statement of the year. You are muted. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Matete. Thank you, Prof Kupim. Thank you to Girls for Girls for this opportunity to join this wonderful forum of young women leaders. Firstly, I just want to thank you for having the vision to initiate this platform for our young leaders and providing the necessary support for them to grow to the level where they become the next pipeline of leaders for this country. Right. I will talk a little bit about ethics and values in decision making that have governed my own life, particularly in the last 25 years or so. And of course, if I'm going to talk about the last 25 to 30 years, you must understand that obviously it means I am quite old. Firstly, I like this leadership pipeline. It resonates with the reason I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro, because we wanted to support young women. And the idea being that your generation should not have to climb the same mountains that my generation climbed, that you should have different choices in terms of which mountains to climb and which mountains not to climb. It's the same thing that happened to us. The generations that went before us, for example, the Frinichi generation that took the reins at the dawn of democracy made things better for me. That's why I was involved in the drafting of the Constitution and many of the things that are on my CV. But before the Frinichi generation, there was the Charlotte Maxeke, Olive Schreiner generation, Gwamile generation that truly braved the unknown to lead. And it was a particular kind of leadership that underpinned their lives that made it possible to have an enduring legacy. My own experience in the leadership journey in mountain climbing and just life in general has shown me that for you to endure in terms of influencing and inspiring others to think and act in a particular way, you yourself have to consistently think and act in a particular way. So that's leadership, influencing and inspiring yourself and others to think and act in a particular way. Because people don't just listen to what you say, they look at what you are doing. So my life story led to me coming up with something that is called the Epic Leadership Code. I loved when you read your pledge because there's some resonance between your pledge and the Epic Leadership Code. I will talk a little bit later about the Epic Leadership Code, but I look forward to the day I will see you guys on TV, sitting on the benches as judges, sitting at the UN as leaders of the world, sitting in the various countries as leaders of our countries. And I would say the Athens Democracy Forum said in the last few days, it is high time that good people go into government. And that's the best among us go into government. Because ideally, think about it. We want companies to be run by excellent people. Why is it that when it comes to government, we don't think that those who go into government should be the best among us, the most competent among us, and the most trustworthy? Well, Plato thought so. They should also be the least selfish. So my own leadership journey, as I indicated, ended up with me formulating the EPIC Leadership Code, which is a matrix for ethics and values in decision making. I have to ask myself, is this ethical? Is it the right thing to do? Is this in line with the purpose of my power, the purpose of my life, and generally the broader purpose of my organization, if I'm in an organization, democracy, etc.? Will it contribute to the world I want to live in? The third thing I've ended up asking myself is, what's going to be the impact? Will there be resonance between where I'm going and what this decision I'm about to make generates? Because sometimes the purpose is right, but the impact is wrong. And lastly, will this be in line with my commitment to serve the whole of humanity? Which is going to lead to some ethical dilemmas. And I'm glad you've spoken about ethical dilemmas, because if you are a sisterhood, what happens when you have to investigate a sister? And I'll talk a little bit about my life story and things like that. Do you look the other way because you want to support the sister? Or you still look at what is right, ethical? What's the purpose of your decision? What's the impact of any decision you make or don't work? And lastly, are you there to save one group? Or are you there to save the whole of humanity? And this, of course, came through a very difficult crucible in my life. As you know, some of you would know that I was involved in the struggle, but it was accidental. I was a Seventh-day Adventist, no intention to harm a fly. I mean, literally, I had problems with people killing cockroaches. I would pick it up nicely and throw it outside. But I did end up in the armed struggle under apartheid. And I was a trade unionist. I was in the civic movement. I went into the early stages of government under democracy in South Africa. I was part of drafting the constitution. And in the last few years, you would know that I was in the South African Law Reform Commission. I was the public protector. And now I'm a law lecturer and chair in social justice research at Stellenbosch University, a decision I purposely made. I had better offers, so to speak, from the point of view of leading with the title VC, at least one concrete job to be a vice chancellor, one concrete job to be a dean, and then other jobs in global multilateral organizations, law firms, etc. But I thought, in terms of my purpose in life, this is where I need to be. And every day I am convinced that this is exactly where I need to be. So that was difficult. At some stage, I was called a spy who walks on water, but I don't want to get to that. But these principles helped me even when we climbed Kilimanjaro last year and the ethical dilemmas that rose during that climbing process. I've already indicated that the code that I eventually came up with talks about what is ethical. Is this right, just, fair, equitable? Is this honest? Is it in line with integrity? The purpose, why am I doing this? What's the vision of, what will the outcome, what will the future look like when I've made this decision? And lastly, the impact. How will people be affected now, tomorrow, and future? And how will the environment be affected? And lastly, is this in line with my commitment to serve humanity and to save the planet that has enabled me to live here? I found that the young people that were training, we have a leadership pipeline that is fairly similar to yours. Our leadership pipeline that is training people on the EPIC leadership principles, preparing them to be development facilitators, to be entrepreneurs, and also to go into government, has really helped some young people to start reflecting where they are in their own development as leaders. One of our leaders, for example, eventually quit a political party that she was a member of because she couldn't find resonance between life in terms of the EPIC leadership code and the way her party would do things just for the convenience of the moment without looking at what would be the consequences of this in the broader ecosystem. Another one has stayed with the same party, a young man, but he still makes sure that whatever decision he makes is in line with the EPIC leadership code. Let me give you my personal life lessons from the EPIC leadership code. Let's talk about ethics, for example. Why, just quickly, why do we get ethical lapses? And I'm sure your program has spoken about that. I have concluded that it's usually either need, it starts with need and it ends with greed. Or it starts with a grievance and it ends with entanglement. Need to greed, grievance to entanglement. Let me explain to you need to greed. When I was, for example, working in the Department of Justice, after my partner passed away and I bought a new car, bought a new house, and just generally needed money. But I also had a grievance in that, you know, I really did think it was time that I got elevated. And somebody came, some department came with an offer to me to apply for a job as a DDG, moving from a deputy director to a deputy director general. That's 4 steps up. Need, this was a great need. It meant more money. It meant leadership with a title, etc. And I could have taken it. But here was the deal. The applications had closed. That was number one. The second problem was that they specifically told me that they want me to take this job because they want a woman to get this job. And the only woman that has applied doesn't get along with them. So you set up in a situation where you are basically being invited to displace another person. Like, you know, that story of Mordecai, that guy who dug a grave for Esther's uncle. So I was being asked to be part of that, in addition to the fact that the applications had closed. So in the short term, though, my problem, I'm a single parent, my partner is gone, my children need to stay in private schools because this would disrupt their lives. What do you do? Well, my decision was not to take it because I just knew based on my own ethical compass, this was wrong. I was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist. Just firstly is do no harm. But secondly, whatever decision you make has to be in line with your personal integrity. So in this particular case, I took that decision. But what it meant, just though from an ethical dilemma, is that I have an opportunity to make life better for my children. I decline it. The consequences are you stay in that very difficult space where you have to balance your life for livelihood purposes. But imagine if I had taken that job. When I was making those decisions against people who used to be my comrades, some of whom expected special treatment from me, and then they turned against me, they wouldn't have had to invent stories about me being CIA, which is American, Mossad, which is Israeli, MI6, which is UK, triple agent. You normally know about double agents. For me, the silly spy stories were about being a triple agent. And some of the spy story, one of the weird ones was spying against African leaders to just find out among them who hates America. Why would America be so stupid to ask a public protector in South Africa to spy in the rest of Africa to find out who hates America? There are cheaper ways and smarter ways to do that job. But again, they invented stories because they couldn't find stories. But what does it say is that when you resolve an ethical dilemma at the time that you are resolving it, be careful about the sustainability of the decision making, because we often don't want to pay the cost now, but there's always a cost. It's a question of pay now or pay later. So that's another reason there are ethical dilemmas. People don't want to pay the cost. I found that you do pay the cost. So that's ethical. Purpose. I spoke to you about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro last year, and our purpose was to climb for girls, for sanitary pads for girls, but also to contribute to the leadership of girls, for girls to know that a lot of things that look impossible are difficult, and we shouldn't confuse difficult with impossible. And therefore, when things were tough, it was purpose that drove us. When it was hard, it was purpose that made us pull through. And at some stage, I had a difficulty in that my legs started feeling as if I had borrowed them from a jellyfish, and I lost most of my vision. Well, temporarily at least, but at that stage, I didn't know I had lost it temporarily. I tried to keep rubbing my eyes, which put sand on my eyes. This is on top of Kilimanjaro. We haven't summited, but we way past base camp. We're between base camp and the first summit, which is Gilman's Point. And then I can't see, my legs can't move, and I'm asked to go back to base camp, and with the possibility of summit tomorrow. And I knew that nobody would come with me tomorrow morning. Well, fortunately, the doctor realized that the eye issue had to do with a depletion of sugar, which was a mistake I had made, in that talking about purpose, sometimes you have to be careful about choosing one purpose at a time. For me, I was worried that I had grown a little bit bigger and my pants were not fitting properly. So whilst everyone was telling us to pump up on carbs, I was pumping up on protein. So when we were on the mountain, I had a sugar depletion, hence the jellyfish kind of legs and the eye problem. The good story, though, is eventually the doctor figured it out, and after long negotiations, thank God, being a lawyer, I'm not going to bore you with the story about how we resolved that, but I had to use a bit of my legal skills there to negotiate. But there was an issue there, just from a leadership point of view, is know when you're not leading, where you are leading from below, because on the mountain, I had to lead from below. And that's what happens with leadership. Sometimes you lead with a title, sometimes you lead from above, sometimes you lead from the side, sometimes you lead from below. And you've got to know how to influence people who are decision makers when you don't have authority over them, which I didn't have in this particular. But basically my negotiation skills was that we'll all benefit from me summiting and in the middle of adversity, and they agreed to it. So we go to, which take me to now impact consciousness. We go to Gilman's Point. I don't know how many of you know that Kilimanjaro has 3 summits. So after, when we get to Gilman's Point, one of the leader who's with me, not Sbuzuzo Vilani, the South African leader, but one of the guides, he says, okay, now we can go home. Remember, people don't know there are 3 summits. You can tell people that you summited, which is true, you get the certificate. But guess who would have known that I hadn't summited Uhuru? I would have known that. But I would have always felt inadequate. I've always felt like a fraud. And the girls that were trying to teach to be authentic leaders, what story would I have told them? What story would I have been talking to you about if I'm saying, oh guys, I summited Kilimanjaro, and I pretend there aren't 3 summits? So I pleaded with them about, at least let's take it one step at a time. So we went to the next summit, and when we got there, they thought, now we should go back, at least we've done 2 summits. I negotiated for the 3rd summit, and in the end, I summited Uhuru. But it's all about impact consciousness. But just another last story about impact consciousness was when I was public protector, there was a time when, at the height of criticism against my office, and therefore it was important that we look as professional as possible. And there, a group, friends of someone, there were so many groups that called themselves the friend of someone, they come and say, I lied or perjured myself in court because in Cape Town I said the powers of the power protector binding, and in Pretoria I said the powers of the power protector are not binding. And they literally had the whole Hawks unit investigating me for this, which was wrong. That was abuse of power. But during the conversation, one of the lawyers suggests there's no there's no illegality if you say you changed your mind. Perjury, firstly, is a crime of lying about facts. So they were wrong about that. But the lawyers thought, okay, the short story here is you just say you changed your mind. I knew I hadn't changed my mind. But what's the ethical dilemma there? It was that we are at a time when my office is under attack, and you don't want to give them an opportunity to know that we are incompetent as well. That we're not only out to get someone, but we're incompetent. Because the truth was that I hadn't read the pleadings, the papers for Pretoria. So I had to publicly disclose that I hadn't read that, which as a professional now, you have to choose between looking good and lying to look good, and telling the truth and look bad. And that's one of the ethical dilemmas that you will often face in your life. In this case, I chose to tell the truth and look bad. But that means paying now instead of paying in the future. If I had lied, not only would I have had to carry the burden of lying and therefore erode my own self-confidence and self-esteem, my team would also have been confused because they would now know that, oh, she lies when she's in difficulty. We too should lie. These lawyers would never trust me when they see me on TV talking about something. They'll say, we remember she agreed to lie when she was with us. Is she lying now? So your credibility becomes a problem. And if you're going to go into leadership, it doesn't matter whether it's a professional leader, as a teacher, or you're going to go into the United Nations, the AU, or lead your country. What you do, watch what you do, because it has implications for how people perceive right and wrong. So you might tell people this is right, this is wrong, but people often will do what you do because that's the way of the organization. And before you know, the way of that organization is a corrupt way. The way of that organization is the way of treating people treating people badly, particularly poor people, or treating people badly if they don't look like you. Just lastly, what does it take, though, to do things consistently and to lead in a manner that influences and inspires people to opt into your arc? This is assuming you want to take people in a particular direction, which is what leadership is all about. What helps you to influence them in that direction and inspire them? Because sometimes we do things against our own will. You go into a meeting to try and influence people, they start insulting you, you insult them back. I mean, the day I was called Thuli walks on water, for example, I turned the tables on them. And then the next thing, the media was talking about us as having a go at each other, like happened with two presidents in one country, or one presidential candidate and a president a few days ago, is that you've got to be careful about your emotions. And which takes me to some of the intelligences I've discovered you need as a leader. They are 4 essential. You might need more intelligences. Others, a friend of mine from Harvard, for example, speaks about 7. But for me, the 4 that have served me, and the 4 that I have found that when I am not strong on those intelligences, I have messed up, are the following. Spiritual intelligence, particularly when I climbed Kilimanjaro, it was important to anchor myself in God. At some stage, I even knelt down and said, God, will you please help me to climb and to summit. But also as power protector, my approach was always like Deborah in the Bible, to just simply say, God, please just give me wisdom here. I don't need more than that, just wisdom. And always asking myself, will I be able to live with it? So spiritual wisdom has carried me through. Emotional intelligence, being able to take care of your own emotions. I told you a story about Parliament. The day I lost my temper, I also lost the battle. So it becomes important to understand your emotions, to control them, and to do meditation, walking, and everything to grow your ability to be self-aware. So they called it mindfulness. And but also eat. The day I lost my temper in Parliament, I hadn't eaten. And I remember Minister Pravin Gordhan asking me later if I was hungry, and I was hungry because hunger makes you angry. In Zulu and Siswati, we say, "Indlala ibangulaga." So be careful, you always have a balanced chemical system in that body of yours. Social intelligence, if you want to lead people meaningfully, make people opt into your boat, into your Noah's Ark, understand people. Don't call men, don't say men are trash. I disagree with that approach. Just partly because for me, I believe that my life has always been 4 stages of justice. Justice for me, that's the selfish part where it's egoistic, egocentric. Justice for us, where all I was concerned about was other women and other Black people. And then later, justice for all, where finally I understood that I deserve justice, people like me deserve justice, and people who are not like me also deserve justice, because as long as there's injustice somewhere, there can't be sustainable peace anyway. And I'm at a stage in my life where I believe it's not just justice for me that's important, justice for us and justice for all. It's also all for justice. And that's why we're doing the M Plan for Social Justice and the Tuma Foundation for Democracy, Leadership and Literacy, where we say for justice to prevail, we need everyone to play their part in upholding justice. And you need social skills to bring everyone on board, where you understand and people's religions. You might have a particular religious faith, like I'm a Christian with some Christian science connotations in some cases, but I believe Muslims have a right to believe in what they believe in, and all of the other religions have a right to believe in what they believe in. Mine is to share what I know to be the truth. Those who want to be persuaded to follow that truth will do so, and those who choose their own path, as long as what they do is based on love and doing no harm, then we're in the same boat. And lastly, intellectual intelligence. One thing that I like about intellectual intelligence is that it grows. You can grow all of these intelligences. Intellectual intelligence, we were told that if you're not smart by the age of 3, you'll never be smart. Now, from neuroscientists, we know that you can grow your brain through exercises, through either mental exercises or even physical exercise. Just lastly to say, for me, I have found that my leadership in the end has been about purpose-driven leadership, epic and anchored leadership based on 4 intelligences. But what was at the core of that was always sticking to what do I love, which in my case is justice. What do I have hope for? I hoped that tomorrow was going to be better than today. And then I had faith that you, me, and others can club together and deliver or co-create a better tomorrow. So these are my final lessons, is that live your life as a leader, starting with leading yourself. The battlefield of life, the main battlefield of life is the one in our heads. As Edmund Hillary said, we don't conquer the mountain out there, we conquer the mountain within us. So always act in integrity with yourself. Secondly, define yourself and your purpose in life as early as possible. And if you can, reduce this into a life blueprint. For me, it helped me to have a life blueprint or a plan for life, which has helped me to measure where can I go and where I shouldn't go. Take responsibility for your life, your actions, and your thoughts. No whataboutism. No saying, oh, I did this because so-and-so did it. Oh, I'm going to insult people because the other people insult other people. No. You live your life according to your own values. We are accountable to ourselves. We're accountable to our creators. Fourth, accept that life is a journey with twists and turns, mountains and valleys, and it's better traveled authentically, so on your own rules, with personal integrity, but you also have to travel it with carefully chosen companions. So I like your idea of being a village and a tribe, because with the people that we climb mountains with, we call ourselves a tribe with a vibe, a village with a purpose. 5, be agile and resilient in turbulences. Never take shortcuts. My father taught me that a shortcut is the longest way. Let the Epic Leadership Code be your GPS. You guys know about GPS. And lastly, adopt a growth mindset anchored in the 4 intelligences. What is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is a mindset that understands that you'll make mistakes, that you're going to fall, but falling is not failing, and even failing is not final. I am where I am, not because I never fell, not because I never failed, but because with each falling and each failure, I learned lessons that made me stronger for the next journey. And don't try to be successful too soon. Just know that, as they say in Mulan, the movie, a flower that grows in adversity is the most beautiful and rarest of them all. Thank you.
So, what can we say? Pula, let it rain. Oh, Prof, you know, every word that drops out of your mouth, I just feel like hanging on it. I've listened to a number of your speeches, but I never get enough out of your life story. Thank you so much. I am so glad that we have a larger audience than the people in the room today, in the Zoom room. We have other people following the conversation through YouTube, and it is really spreading your message. And I believe that just like me, they are hanging on every word that you're saying. We have people from Botswana, from Kenya, from Zambia, from South Sudan, from Uganda, from Swaziland. And yes, Alan, we see you. We are glad you've joined. And I know that we have, you know, people from this other country, Cape Town. Is that a country? Okay. But we do have people spread all over. And we are so thankful that you've joined us. Mentees, prepare your questions. I think there is a lot that we have all learned, but this is your opportunity to ask questions. I heard that Prof loved justice very early in her life. And it means she used her information gathering years to build on her love for justice and see where she is. So this is your opportunity to use every opportunity to build on those love affairs that you have so that they can mature into big impact, like she's impacting our lives right now. But it reminds me also of a story that our Vice Chancellor and Principal shared in one of his speeches. You know that he's now Professor of Media. That's why he's always in media. Every day, if you follow him, he is right there. But he says at university, he ended up being an editor of a university student magazine. He really cherished and nourished the love for media that he had, and see where he is today. So the same with Prof and mentees. You really have to nurture that good love, passion that you have. It will grow into something bigger than life. And that is what I see in Prof's life. It is really a life bigger than life. Thank you so much for sharing with us from your life. I'm going to check, and coordinators help me to check for hands in the participation list, but also to help me trace questions in our chat room. Do we have the first question? I don't see any at the stage. So I am waiting on you, mentees. Oh, yes, the dancing queen, Akuzo, it's your turn. Yes, raise your question.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Prof Thuli. That was absolutely amazing. I just wanted to ask, you said, define yourself, your purpose as early as possible. But what happens when purpose is not clear? And is purpose, or is it an ongoing discovery process?
Thank you, Akuzwe. May I respond immediately?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Akuzwe. And that's the right question. Try as early as possible to define yourself, but it might not be possible. And also, not everyone is lucky like myself to have always been able to choose what job you would take. Because when I was younger, I could choose whatever job I had, knowing that I didn't owe any student fees for my university education, and knowing that my parents had a home, and therefore I could always have a place to sleep. And for some people, you have to take what you can find. How do you define your purpose? Personally, I have found that you define your purpose by understanding what do you feel passionate about? What annoys you? What makes you jump? For example, anywhere where I have worked, my team will tell you that injustice, especially the poor treatment of poor people, would be the things that really just set me off. I always have to keep myself in check because I just feel that we lower our threshold of what's acceptable in the way we treat people when the social class of that person is low. And that just sets me off. And I suppose because I grew up as working class and I knew that that's how people treated people that they believe are a lower social class. People treat people who are different from them. Foreigners, they would treat them badly, and things like that. And then there's gender, and then there's race. So I always felt very passionate about things like that. And then look at your skill set. Although you can hone your skill set, you don't have to be limited by your skills when it comes to your purpose. I think for me, it just boils down to what do you feel strongly about in life? But just lastly, to agree with you, Akutswe, that it can be a growing journey. The people in the room, you are young girls. At some stage, for example, I wanted to be a doctor. And when June 16 happened during my time, and then you must understand that was a long time ago. When June 16, my sense of purpose changed because I started feeling that I need to work to bring about justice. Initially, I had wanted to work to bring healing because my mom, although she was uneducated, a former domestic worker, she was a midwife, she was always delivering babies.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. I see Akahlulwa as the next one. Over to you.
Hi, Prof. Thank you for your speech. Dropped a lot of jewels, and thank you, Bula, to you. First of all, you discussed how you briefly mentioned that what do you have to do when you have to investigate your sister? And I would like to know how you have dealt with the impact of being an ethical leader when it comes to investigating your friends or someone who you thought was your friend or your comrade. And secondly, what book recommendations do you have for someone who wants to become a good leader?
Well, thank you, Akahlulwa. Investigating a friend, a relative, or somebody close to you is the most difficult and the most painful of things you have to do as a leader. And I must say that just generally, I'm the kind of person who has difficulty firing people or just causing people pain. So it was very tough during my days. Let's take, for example, my experiences that I had as pub protector. One of the cases I had to investigate was the IEC. The head of that institution had been a friend for over years and somebody I respected and somebody I still respect. And I remember that we always were thorough in the work we did and we always worked as a team. But given the stakes here, given the fact that I had different expectations from the person concerned, I really went all out. And I remember us sitting in the office until 7 o'clock the following morning, arguing about this. They even had to bring in the forensic investigator to show how things added up together. So you've got to firstly acknowledge that it's painful It's unpleasant. It's unpleasant just generally to deliver bad news. I don't know. With me, that's why I'm not a policeman, and I value them, and I think it's a great job. I'm not a prosecutor, and I think it's a great job, but it's unpleasant to bring unpleasant news to people. But you have to look at purpose. That's how I ended up with the EPIC code, that you have to just make sure that you're doing the right thing. And right in this case is ethics being a framework of values and principles for determining right and wrong. So is it right because, is it an honest thing to do? Is it a fair thing to do? Is it a just thing to do? Is it an equitable thing to do? So those are some of the ethical considerations. Is it a peace-building thing to do? And what also helped me was transparency. The team, for example, as a pulp protector, knew that we had one formula and one formula only, and we can't change it. We can't chop and change. What happened? Which is a factual inquiry. What should have happened? Which is a legal, ethical, and administration and good governance inquiry. So we would look at, in terms of the rules, what should have happened. And then thirdly, is there a discrepancy between what happened and what should have happened in accordance with the rules? And if there's a discrepancy, can it be explained? Because it doesn't mean if there's a discrepancy, then people have to be punished. It could be they dropped the ball, but the circumstances were such that they couldn't do anything else but drop the ball. And then if there's no valid explanation for the discrepancy between what should have happened and what happened, then we look at, was anybody harmed by this process? So it could be the whole nation was harmed because it lost money. The whole nation was harmed because money was stolen. Or a single person was harmed because justice failed them, or they were discriminated or something like that. And then lastly, how do we place whoever was harmed by this wrong decision as close as possible to where they would have been? So consistency helps you, because then you know that everyone knows that you don't chop and change the rules. But lastly, when you have an ethical dilemma, choose the decision that will make you sleep well at night. And a decision that will make you like the person you look at the mirror. Lastly, how do you communicate to the next person? For example, when I did the ICEC matter, the colleague, because she expected differently from me, she came to our meeting, rubbished me in front of my staff, screamed at me. I didn't scream. I just patiently explained what was happening. She went into the media, did the same thing. I just stayed. So don't be thrown into tit for tat. Just explain yourself. Understand that when people are sad, when people are afraid, they're going to lash out. That doesn't define them. That's just the moment. That's they're caught in that moment of giving in to fear.
Well, thank you. Mapula, it's your chance.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Prof. I have a question, and it's with regards to the Clicks Tresemme issue with the EFF. You expressed on Twitter that the EFF got it wrong. So I would like to know, what are your ideas and thoughts on how an ethical leader would have handled the situation? Thank you.
That's a nice one, Mapula, because you are saying how an ethical leader would have handled it. Perhaps I would deduce that maybe you question whether my choice in this particular case was ethical. I still believe that the EFF could have done it differently. Again, my rubric for making this decision is the EPIC leadership code. Is do unto others as you would like to be done to you, but also do unto others as you would like the world to be. Some people say it's okay to use violence because discrimination is violent against us. And that applies to some women, for example, that say it's okay to call men trash because currently women are under attack from men. My view is, if you want to solve the darkness, you don't bring greater darkness to the situation. You light a candle. And therefore, I think this matter could have been negotiated with cliques, and the same outcome could have been reached. Or in the failure of that outcome, in the failure of negotiations, then you could opt differently, because it wasn't a matter of life and death. Remember, it was her. It wasn't George Floyd who had just been killed. It was her. So it didn't have to be resolved within 48 hours. But I think when the dust has settled, you will also all know that because women were pushed by the side and colored people who were the ones attacked were pushed by the side, we got that whole advert issue. When white people define their hair as fine and flat, they don't mean it's good hair. Remember that whole mass area was about, it was said white hair is fine and flat and normal, and then black hair is dry and damaged. So the actual original picture doesn't have African people like me and you. It is a colored picture, which is damaged and dry, and then fine on the other side, and a white blonde woman who is fine and flat on the wrong side and normal on the other side. Why I called this, for me, unconscious bias was that if you have the white woman's hair blonde, fine and flat somewhere, and then later normal when it's been treated by Tresemme all by itself, it's fine. But if you bring these pictures together and give you a composite picture, and then you forever, you move the final colored woman's picture, you now have the dry and damaged, and the fine and flat on the left side, which is the before pictures. And then the after only has the white blonde woman. It gives the impression that black hair only translates into normal when it becomes white and blonde. So that's why my approach was that this was an unconscious bias, because they didn't realize that when you put these pictures together, it would be offensive. You and me, we know we go to the salons every time and we talk about hair being dry and damaged. And then you still get proper black hair, kinky hair that is properly processed. And these days, most people, my hair under this is normal hair, and it is, but you still treat it for dryness and damage. So how should the EFF have handled it? Negotiate, which is, I think this is what this program has taught you. Negotiate, because you asked me, what books should you read? I would recommend to you 3 books. One, Jesus CEO, not because you're Christians. It's just a book about using Jesus's principles to build followership, to replicate yourself as a leader, and to have a sustainable legacy. So that's what Jesus CEO is about. So it treats Jesus as a CEO, and don't be offended if you're Muslim, Judaism, etc. It's not a Christian book. It's written by Laurie Beth Jones, and I read it earlier. It also tells you about when do you use your masculine side of things. When do you become femme, decisive, and say no? And when do you become use your ethic of care, persuasion, etc.? Because there will be those decisions where you were going to say the buck stops here. And there's no 2 ways about it. And that's Jesus's style of leadership. The other book that I would suggest that you take is Who Moved My Cheese? Because it's just a book about people are always going to move your cheese, and you've got to dance with change. They say, I believe that life belongs to those who dance with change without losing sight of their purpose, vision, and values. And Who Moved My Cheese is about that. Finding your purpose, sticking to the outcomes that you want, whilst being flexible about the strategies of going forward. The last one, which is the EFF one, which I would recommend to the EFF, is The Art of War.
Yeah.
By Sun Tzu or Lao Tzu. And if you understand leaders like Gwamile of Swaziland, Queen Zinga of Angola, Shaka Zulu, and I think Genghis Khan, and Alexander the Great. Those are leaders that would show you that if you can win a war without firing a single bullet, please do that, because nobody wins when you fire a bullet. Your own people, I mean, if you say you win the war, for example, let's say you were going to fight, you win the war, you had 1,000 people and you're coming back with only 300 people and 700 are dead. That's not really a win, because you've sacrificed a lot. So if you can win without using too much of your social capital, then do so. And I hope this is something that you will use throughout your leadership. Don't shoot, don't scream, don't fire unless it's absolutely necessary. So that when you raise your voice, or although they say actually it's the rain that grows flowers, it's not thunder, but there may be times when you have to be firm in talking, and do so really so that it is effective.
Thank you, Prof. Our time is running out, but I am going to indulge all of you and provide Alexandra and Hilary opportunities as the last two hands that are raised. So Alexandra first, please go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, just raise your voice.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask, sometimes we're put into inevitable positions where we have to deal with people that have different ethics and values to us. How do we put aside our differences and how do we find common ground to work on a problem together if there's absolutely no way that we can leave the situation? So if we have to, you know, work with people that have different ethics and values to us.
Wonderful. Should I answer this one quickly? Alexandra,
yes.
Thank you. You've already answered your question partially, is that the starting point is always to find common ground. For me, the second thing is walk in their shoes. We once did this workshop as the Tuma Foundation about in their shoes. In other words, empathy. This is where you reach stage 4, from justice for us to justice for me, justice for us. At stage 3, where it's justice for all. At stage 4, when you reach all for justice, you need to know what inspires people. To lead people, you need to know what inspires them. I'm working on the M plan for social justice. When I started, some people didn't believe in leveling the playing field. And I had to find tools like telling stories. One of the stories that I tell them is the story of playing in a Monopoly game where some people are left out of the game. The blue team is left out of the game until several rounds of Monopoly have been played, and these others have acquired property and they dominate. Then you release the pink team to join. Can you call that equality? I have found that through allegories and stories, often people shift their mindset. So it becomes extremely important to not always assume that people have bad intentions. When I was younger, I just didn't understand why people don't see the obvious. And one of the training seminars I went on and ended up with a book in my 30s was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where they give you a picture. I don't know if you guys have seen that book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You would have seen that paradigms picture where people can argue and say, there's an old woman here. And then another would say, how can you be so stupid? There's only a young woman here. So you could really argue until you turn blue. And if you use emotive language and derision and things like that, you could even end up hitting each other. only to find that actually the composite picture is bigger than what the two of you see. So I would say give people the benefit of doubt by trying to understand, seek first to understand before you can be understood. That's one of Carver's principles. And then lastly, in your communication, always begin with the end in mind. That's what Carver says. I add, stay with the end in mind throughout the process. Because it's no use in beginning with the end in mind, and then as soon as they know you, you lose sight of the end in mind. But just lastly, Alexandra, sometimes you have to quit. Sometimes you have to reach a point where you realize that with this particular team, I will not be able to persuade them otherwise in my lifetime, and go find somewhere else where your soul will be nurtured and your leadership will be impactful.
Wow, thank you. Hilary, you are the last one. Please go on and ask your question.
Okay, good morning, Prof, and good morning, everyone in the room as well. My question to you would be, have you ever felt that as a woman in any of the fields that you've worked in or any in the lines of your work, you've had to be more ethical and you've had to do more and you've had more eyes on you than maybe your male counterparts in any of your lines of work? Because I feel like that maybe because you're a woman, people are just waiting for you to maybe slip up. Have you ever maybe experienced that or had a journey with that in any way?
Thank you, Hilary. Yes, I have experienced that. Although in my case, it was mixed fortunes. Let me say that, yes, when we were in my early days, for example, in the Department of Justice, I could feel that approach that presumes that you're incompetent until you have proven yourself otherwise. As Pop Protector, it was so weird in that because the bar was set so low for being a woman, was that anything that you did so well was celebrated beyond measure. Oh, that was my experience. I don't know whether it's because the bar for the post itself was set so low, such that everything that I did was super celebrated. However, you're right about the ethics being made higher for women. And that's not just for me. If you look at when you started G4G, Hillary Clinton is a classical example of a woman being judged with a different set of tools. When a man does this, I mean, in her case, even just sexual indiscretions of her husband were eventually attributed to her, which was, for me, the most weird of all of the ethical perversions of judging women leaders and judging male leaders. Towards the end of my term as a pub protector, when a lot of people were no longer happy with me and they were trying to find reasons, I had the same difficulty when my son bumped a car, and he was still young then, and he accepted responsibility. But there was a whole lot of a campaign to try and make me responsible for this. Like, I was sleeping when this happened, but somehow I was miraculously responsible for what happened. So it had, I don't necessarily know whether it has to do with being a woman or it has to do with being a mother, but I've also seen that when you're a woman leader and your husband or boyfriend becomes involved in corruption or in indiscretion, somehow the narrative, the public narrative, draws you into that. And when a man's wife has done something, it's rare that they keep bringing the partner into the story. The other person is judged for their own indiscretions, but when you're a woman, you are brought into it. But the one thing that I'm going to say, Hilary, which has saved me, is that it's your rules that should govern your life, not their rules. And you can't say that because they are saying this, because they're doing this, I will engage them on their rules. Also, just lastly, as part of the EPIC Leadership Code, you've got to meet people where they are if you want to move them to where you want them to go. often I've heard now that we train young women in agility and resilience in times of uncertainty, people are saying that if people are mean to you, you have to show them too. You've got to bully them back. My only concern is if you go into a room and you say, my intention, my purpose in this room is to show them that I too can engage in a street fight, that's okay. But if your intention is to persuade them to enter into your arc and move to the destination you want, therefore play it by your rules. Always look for angles of how can I influence and inspire these people. If they're going to judge women on a higher standard of ethics, then as part of my tactical approach to this thing, I will not question this. I will do what takes me to the next level. You'll remember with, for example, the issue of my son, legally, I owed no money, but I paid 600,000 to the state of South Africa. Just because from my own ethical journey, it was important that I do this my way and in line with my own purpose in life, in line with my own leadership impact. Thank you.
Oh. Unfortunately, we have to stop here. But thank you, mentees, for asking your questions, because it gave us an opportunity of getting more pearls, more nuggets of wisdom out of Prof. Prof, we are really thankful. May it keep on raining your way so that your life can continue to shower us with this type of blessings that are full of wisdom. Listening to you makes me wiser. And I believe I'm speaking on behalf of every woman who has listened to you. Oh, but also the one man in the room. But for sure, there are many other men on YouTube who are listening. This is really wisdom. One comment in the chat room that I picked up was someone who said, if we could just have ethical leaders, you know, at your level, the type of ethical leader you are, if we had more of you, we definitely have a better world. And that is so true. Continue to inspire and instruct the rest of us to aspire towards this ethical life. You've given us enough and we are so thankful. And we want to shower you with blessings back. Continue to educate us, and for sure this world will be better and South Africa will be better because of you. You are an icon. We draw so much from you. And we are thankful that today we shared this space with you. We cannot express our gratitude enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Blessings all the way.
Thank you. Pula. Let it keep on raining and raining.
Thank you, Pula.
Thanks, Prof. We are now moving on. It is that time when we have to take a break.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for being back again. I'm going to start by apologizing before I hand over to our facilitator. Initially, the session was supposed to end at 11:45, but because of time and the fact that we're going to have our graduation ceremony shortly, my coordinators pushed me to end the session 10 minutes earlier. So apologies on that. I am so sorry. Over to you, Dr. Madiba.
You are forgiven.
You are.
Yes, it has been such a humbling journey. And we are here now for our final session of feedback. So we have to be very clever with time. My ideal is to have every group to give their feedback verbally or orally. But just to play safe, group 1 to 4, please type in your feedback in the chat room. I am going to push and I'll cut out my own comments so that you get the time to present your feedback. We are starting with group 16. We are moving up. And if time allows us, we'll get to 1. But to play safe, please put your 1 to 4, put your feedback in the chat room. Okay, let's go. This is the last feedback, and I hope those mentees who haven't been speaking, maybe they will grab this opportunity. They should have negotiated with their teams in their circles to make sure that we hear their voices. Team 16, go. 1 minute.
Hi, ladies. My name is Princess Sibanda, and I'm representing Imbogoto, which is group 16. I'm gonna try to be very brief. We had a brief session anyway. So we started off with an icebreaker where we shared a term that we learned from Prof Thuli's presentation. And then we had a guest from UJ. Her name is Nsibeng. We're very lucky. And then we role played roommates in residence. One of them bought an exam paper, so she wanted to share with her friends so that they can ace the exam. But then they got to a point where they agreed that they're gonna study and consult instead of using the question paper. And then we gave them feedback on their role playing, and then Meg Gloria, one of our mentors, said her stories where she had to apply principles of ethics and values. And then Rita was still telling us love words and stuff. Priscilla brought us back. Priscilla, you brought us back. Thank you.
I hear that grudge. Priscilla brought us back. Thank you, Princess. Can we quickly move over to group 15? You have a minute. Over to you.
I think from our group, Poppy is going to be our feedback givers. Poppy.
Unmute if you're muted.
I don't know where she is. Linda, do you mind going? Linda?
Hi, we are Moremi, and we are, I'm representing group 15, which is Moremi. And some of the things we did speak about in our last session, of course, which was very tearful, was, ethics and morals and how we stand by them. Of course, we also had a slight story about an exam paper and how one of our group members decided that after being able to access it, they chose to do better, even though they did receive consequences for it, but they were able to identify where they went ethically and morally wrong, and they decided that this was not the way, and they changed their way towards, the few points that Prof had mentioned about intelligence and being able to identify when you've done something that is morally wrong for a person. Of course, we did a bit of discussion about it and how we can, move past certain moral dilemmas that we do come across based on peer pressure, and also just in the workplace as well.
Thank you. I also love that intellectual intelligence nugget. Thank you. Then we are at group 13. This is your chance. Am I correct? Yes.
No.
No.
Group 14.
14. Oh, thank you. Thanks. 14, over to you.
Thank you. So our group Female Force, we were discussing today's session with Prof Thuli and Prof Kupe, and also just tying up everything that we've been learning from module 1. I think one of the resounding things that we had in our group was do unto others as you like them to do unto you. So recognizing within yourself how you want to be treated and putting that forward into other people. So respecting them, talking to them the way you'd want them to talk to you, and walking away if the negotiation, the skills of communication we have learned do not work. So walk away, and maybe you'll find another time where you can amend with that other person, with the group. If not, just walk away with your pride, as we've learned today, that it is better for you to put forward like integrity, ethical leadership, instead of shouting at the other person because they're shouting at you.
Yeah. Thank you. I hope you watched that Trump-Biden debate. It's a very good example of don't be tempted to play and to dance to the tune of the other. Okay, that was 14. Let's move over to 13.
Hi.
Hi.
Our group is Resilient Ladies, and firstly, we talked about the challenges that we face when it comes to ethics and values, and we just shared differently what we think, and we talked about the sexualization of women in the workplace, and how if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything, and how women need to stand up. Now we've acknowledged now throughout this entire journey of Girls for Girls that women are a force, and that women can do anything that they set their minds to, especially if they know within themselves who they are. And then with the little time that we had left, because we didn't really have much time, we discussed what success means to us, and we gave our opinions. We said success to us means servanthood, serving others, and having an impact in other people's lives, and also just having peace of mind. Then with the last 5 minutes that were left, because we couldn't role play, we just asked our mentor questions about how to survive in the workplace, post university, and whether we can still keep in contact with one another outside of Girls for Girls. We shared how we felt about the entire journey, and we just gave gratitude for the process and the journey and how far we've come. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, time is an issue, but thanks for bearing with us. Let's now move over to group 12.
Hello. So in the SHE unit, we started by catching up, and we discovered that one of us have completed their bachelor in applied maths. So we celebrated her, and then did 2 role plays, one of an interview whereby everything was normal. It was just a normal interview with nothing hidden in it. And then the second interview, there was a moral dilemma where there were benefits that were put on the table. So we had to see whether one would throw out their values out the window or they would stick to being ethical. So after that, we discussed Professor Thuli's speech when she was addressing us earlier on, and we spoke about what touched us. And we loved when she said we should not rush the process of being successful, and that cutting corners always has consequences.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was group 12, isn't it? We are now at 11. Over to you.
Yes, so I'll be representing Girls in Motion. So we started off by talking about our own definitions of what we think ethics are, and then how ethics is what you do even when no one is watching. And then we spoke about the gems that we picked up from Thuli Madonsela's speech, including the intelligences, which I think everyone picked up on. And we spoke about the book, one of the books that she recommended, which is Who Moved My Cheese? And we also talked about what would you do if you were not afraid, which is something that they kind of touch on in the book. And we spoke about how we shouldn't suffer from the bazotina bantu syndrome, like doing something because you want to do it and not thinking about everyone else. And then we spoke about our non-negotiables, like where do we draw the line. We also shared situations in which where we faced ethical dilemmas. And then we're also appreciative of our mentors, because they've been really, really great. And yes, it was a very emotional session. Thank you.
Pleasure. Yes, you live by your rules, not theirs. I hope you got this one and you remember it. Let not the people govern your life. You govern your life with your rules. And I think that is about, ignoring the bazotini abantu, if my Zulu is correct. Okay, that was group 11. Group 10, over to you.
Hi everyone again. This is group 10, the Game Changers with Feroza and Grace. And today's session we spoke about briefly what Prof Thuli Madonsela talked about and what we took away from what she spoke to us, or said to us rather, let me say it that way. After that, we spoke about briefly the things that we're not willing to negotiate on. So for some people, they weren't willing to negotiate on their happiness. Some people weren't willing to negotiate on maybe their mental health and what they stand for. So basically, that's what we talked about, to keep it brief and short. And we just said our final goodbyes in the very last session.
I can imagine how painful that must have been. Final goodbyes. That's not an easy one, but it's okay. We should create more opportunities to meet in this manner. Alumni, G4G alumni, think about it. That was group 10, am I correct? Now we are at 9.
Hi,
over to you.
We're the Power Sisters Group 9. So we started off by discussing like any ethical dilemmas we were in, and we found that you don't always necessarily make the correct decision in every ethical dilemma, and that there's always something else you could have done, but that in an ethical dilemma where you made the correct decision, it's not always easy, and it's maybe sometimes the easier road to take, the easy way out, okay, I'll take the benefits just to not get you to harass me. But that we should not let greed cloud our judgment in these situations. And then we spoke about like the little nuggets that Thuli said that resounded with us, which is that shortcuts are sometimes the long way around, and where you need to make decisions that are sustainable within your moral and ethical values. And then the intelligence things that you mentioned, like the spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence, where losing your temper it shouldn't be something, because when you lose your temper, you lose the battle, or you lose the debate. And falling is not failing, and failing is not final, where you learn out of your mistakes. And if you do end up failing, you should just stand up and try again, because it's not the end of the world if you do end up not achieving what you wanted to achieve in the first place. And then the last thing was, you need to take responsibility for your actions and thoughts, and that people don't listen to what you say, but rather look at what you do, because you can't say one thing and then do the opposite. So you need to be aware that your actions reflect your values and ethics as well.
Thank you so much for capturing all those valuable lessons. That was group 9. So we are now at 8. 8, over to you.
Hi ladies, my name is Larissa Mashtango, and I'm presenting group 8, Chili with Wings. We first started by checking up on each other, then discussed our core values and principles that we live by. Some of them include respect, honesty, excellence, and love. We then discussed our skills, which required us to be authentic and ethical. Then lastly, Mulalo reflected by reflecting on the session and reminding us that our values make us. Thank you.
Something happened to your audio, or are you done? Oh, we are missing
Yes,
out.
I'm done.
Oh, good. Okay, go on. Oh, you're done.
No, I'm
okay.
done.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Your mic wasn't that very clear, but I hope, we got a sense of your messages. Thank you very much. We are now on group 8. Over to you. Eight, unmute your mic.
Oh, 7.
Oh, 7. Oh, please check me out. I mess up. Yes, 7.
Bula. We are the Power Up girls. So on our session, it was a very nice one. We reflected on what Prof Thuli spoke about. And then we had to learn about 3 steps of ethical conduct. The first step is to think of what is at stake in different level, personal, professional, and societal level. And then the second one is to examine the strategies, being the options available and the principles and values that it relates to, and also check out that what will it cause at the long term? How will it affect you or impact your life at like long term, being it positive, negative, or short term and long term implication? So we came up with a scenario on if there's a textbook that is sold at a certain price in the books market, but you can't afford it and you opt to download it. Is it ethical for you to download, or how will it like impact you in those steps? How does it imply in those steps that we discussed? And what do you think the author of the book feel? And also, since mainly sometimes the purpose of them writing the books, they aim to get profit or up sales, and also that, okay, obviously when you buy it, you have to have money, and also buying it means profit for them, but not buying and downloading it illegally means lost for them. And also another thing is you have to looking at what is at stake. Sometimes the situation just affect you on how you do it. And another thing is know that even if something is difficult doesn't mean it's impossible, and also differentiate between ethics and morals. And they are similar, but they're not the same. Yeah, that's what we discussed.
Oh, thank you so much. What a nice walkthrough for us through that framework that appears in the book. Thank you so much for the reminder. We are now at 6. Over to you.
Okay, we at group 6, Pasadika Kopano, we started by talking about what stood for us when Prof Thuli Madonsela was giving a speech. And then we then talked about the importance of what to do when we are faced with a decision making. If we are in a place where we have to make a decision, and then we were advised and to think about what is it at stake, and then we should use the principles that we learned and apply them into whatever decision that we would need to give out. We then talked about, discussed different dilemmas that we can be faced with, like either in workplace or in our everyday life. And then we talked about the most important decision that one should take if you are found in a place where you have to make a decision, is that decision, like the same way as Prof Thuli Madonsela gave us. She was like, if it makes you when you go back to sleep, does it make you want to sleep, or is it haunting you? So things like that you should take into consideration when making those decisions. And then we talked about that sometimes you are faced with a challenge that somebody, you are given a job that is not in line with your ethics, and then but then you are desperate, you don't have like you have to look out for your family. What do you do in those situations? And then we talked about the fact that okay, we were giving our answers based on how we would feel, that if it doesn't make me feel okay with taking the offer or doing whatever decision that I have to take that is not in line with my beliefs, I will not do it. Because sometimes if you take it at first, you continually, like if you're given another opportunity to do the same, to take that decision in a different angle, you end up taking it again. It's more like some people who went into drugs, so it's more like it gets addictive. So yeah, then we wrapped up by saying that decision, I mean, this is a very difficult topic because most of the times you are forced to take a decision because you don't have a choice, and then so yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, tough decision making underlined by the values you stand up for. Thank you very much. We are now at 5.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm representing Group 5, the La Femme family. So firstly, we had a recap on what we took from Professor Thuli, and then our mentors mentioned this point that there's always a price to pay for the decisions that we make, and then individual ethics are also important. And during that, one of our mentees shared with us the time where she faced an ethical dilemma where she had to either lie to the students to save the committee, or be true to the student and then stay true to the purpose of her saving the students in the first place, of which she decided to be honest to the student because she valued honesty. And then we also had a scenario where a final year student was running for office for the SRC, and they are given speeches, and then they are now reminded of the time where they bought a question paper and then wrote a module and passed it. And then they're certain that there will be a question asked about that if they continue with the campaign. So our mentees discussed that. One of them said that they would include this scenario in the speech and then relate it to the student. And then the other one said that they would withdraw from running because it is a misconduct and it can stay with you like in your academic record. And then yeah, time was cut. Thank you.
Wow, it's, you know, that nugget of you speak the truth now and pay by not winning favor from those who are listening, but you're actually going to win in the long run if you stick to the truth. If you do the opposite, it is going to haunt you forever. Thank you so much. We are now at Group 4. A minute for you.
Thank you. With Group 4, we started with reflections from the main session. All the members in the group were greatly impressed with Professor Thuli Madonsela, with the way she spoke from a personal perspective, that you could relate with the stories. It was not just something that you felt she was reading from a book, but it was her lived reality, even with her using the example of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. We felt that was really beautiful. And one of the mentees actually reflected on Professor Kupe joining us and him being very supportive, that with a lot of women, you don't get a lot of men supporting women. You don't get men just saying, I'm going to rally behind you, even if it means that men will lose. But we see Professor Tawana Kupe just being there and always, ever since he came on board, he's always been for the students and doing all means possible to be socially visible. And then the coach Pell gave a scenario where if she has to make an ethical decision, she would use a 6-head solution. You look at the situation emotionally, what are your feelings in that kind of situation? You look at the situation objectively, and you use a positive perspective. You look at both perspectives, negatively and the positive outcome of the situation. And then you think creatively about the situation, and then you try to remove yourself from the situation and think broadly about the situation. And then a scenario we had is when one of the mentees went to a shop, and then instead of being charged 800 rands, she was charged 80 rands. As a student, it would be easy to say to you, I need the money, let me just go. But the ethical thing she did in that situation was to go back to the cashier and say, you know what, I think you're undercharged. And the cashier was really surprised and very impressed. So that is just the summary. And of course, we said our goodbyes, took a photo, and it was, yeah, it was really beautiful getting to know each other, waking up every Saturday to come to be a part of this village, Udlobukasi village. Thank you.
Pleasure, and it is beautiful to hear you giving us your summary. Thank you so much. Are we now at 3? Yes, a minute for you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I'll be representing group 3. Okay, this is the reflection on group 3. On group 3, we first reflected on what we learned throughout the G4G sessions. And then what we learned is that we gained confidence from all the sessions. We learned how to fight for ourselves. And then we found families throughout the sessions. So in my group, we are one family now. We decided that my JC adopted us as her children, and which we all agreed that we are a family. So we are now her children. And then secondly, we gave feedback on today's sessions and what we learned about throughout the session, on today's session. So, and then on the third one, we did a role play about sexism, where me and Tylene were at the party. And then in the party, we had a disagreement. So I had to tell her that she needs a man in order for her to achieve everything in this world, to overcome all her challenges. And then in return, she gave a response that she doesn't need a man because she can do everything without a man. And so that was what we did in today's sessions. And then last part, it was thanking each other, and then that we will miss each other and everything, that because we are one, and which is true, we're gonna miss each other because we're a family. Thank you.
Thanks. I can imagine those virtual hugs and kisses, how they had to be transported, through some megabytes. But that's okay. That's what COVID has taught us to do. Group 2, over to you.
Hello, everyone. With the village of Empowered to be Bold, we spoke about ethics and values. We had a role play firstly, when a worker took money from her workplace to rescue her child who was in an emergency need. So we spoke about how unethical she took the decision, and we helped her how she could correct it by becoming clean and being honest. And we also quoted some words from Prof Madonsela, that it is your rule that should govern your life, not their rules. So we discussed about how we should control our emotions when taking decisions. And we spoke about the ethical dilemma. Sometimes we have the dilemma because we lack some information about certain aspects in the two things that we have dilemma about. And yeah, I also spoke about that we should not confuse difficult and impossibilities. And showers to my village and the mentors. Thank you.
Indeed, showers and showers to you. Group 1, the last minute is yours.
Hi, everybody. It's me again, Agashulwa. I did post in the group, but basically to repeat what I said in case you didn't see it, we briefly had a role play about me one day working, and I have to do an audit, but I need to lie on the report and say that everything is okay when it isn't. And I decided, no, I'm going to submit the report, even if I get fired, I can challenge it later. And we dived into why I decided to do the right thing and which ethics and values guided me into that, and why I decided to have those values in my life. And then we discussed other values that I have, non-negotiables, like, for example, getting involved in something that might hurt somebody, or I can't sleep at night having done. And we also discussed maybe how your mental state might impact your decisions that you make. For example, if you watch the Zondo Commission, some people genuinely look like they don't understand what they did wrong, and I think they're not really okay upstairs. and we discussed like how that might affect you, your upbringing as well, and negative and positive reinforcements when it comes to ethics and values and how we can practice that in our daily lives. I'd just like to say it was great, it was awesome, and she can.
Well, showers and showers your way. Thank you so much. Mentees and mentors, when we started, we kept on referring to each other as phenomenal women. You know, at that stage, maybe it was a pep talk, but we are here almost at the end of our journey, and I want to assure you that you are phenomenal. It is no longer, it is my lived reality. You've really made the sessions what they had to be. I always look forward to the feedback part, and you're never disappointed, even when we are pressurized for time like this. So I can't express my gratitude enough. You've really impacted my own life. You have stretched my, my horizons, my vistas. I see things very differently now, but very positively, because you've allowed me to see what possibilities are there. So I am really thankful to the mentors, to the mentees, to the coordinators, to G4G South Africa, and to those women at Harvard who, had this big dream, and they made sure that they don't disappoint themselves, but they drove the dream. And now we are beneficiaries. Okay, let's change to the highest gear. In some cases, I've seen gear 6. Maybe this is where we should be. Excuse me. We are now entering into a very beautiful session. And this is to honor those who've really paid the price of showing up throughout all the sessions. There are those who've attended 6 out of 6 of the sessions. Others have attended 5 out of 6, and others have attended at least 4 out of the 6. These are the people that we are going to be honoring by reading their names, and we will be sending their certificates to them. They will receive a certificate and a t-shirt. And all those people who were promised prizes never let us off the hook. That is Priscilla and myself. If you won a prize for whatever competition you responded to, make sure that you chase after us and keep us to our ethics so that we fulfill our promises. Having said all of this, by the powers vested in me, actually, it is that moment where Kini should be playing that graduation song, you know about it, but it's okay. By the powers vested in me, I hereby constitute this part of the session as a graduation ceremony for those who've diligently showed up and attended enough circles. And I just want to say to them, Pula, congratulations, you've earned this, excuse me, and never undermine the power of this additional aspect of your profile. Make sure that it features on your CV, because you've really gone through a journey of learning. You have used this time to invest in this information investing years of your life. And I really congratulate you. I believe that you will reap many other benefits. So here we go. Drum roll, Priscilla. Can we have the slideshow? Priscilla's going to, okay, go on.
Before we continue into the most important, exciting segment for today, can I ask that you all switch off your videos? And when we go into that specific room, we are going to graduate the mentees according to cycles. And I, with the power invested in me, so said Dr. Madiba, I will graduate the mentors. So the mentors in each circle, as identified, I will call out your name and hand over so that you can graduate the mentees in your circle. When we get to that room, or when I call out that room number, the mentees in that room, please switch on your lights, your cameras, just so that we can take a nice group photo so that it can be right in front. Are we ready to go?
Yay!
Whew. Right. Welcome to the University of Pretoria, G4G graduation. The following mentees and mentors have attended a minimum of 4 more sessions. We are now in room 1. Wait. Dr. Mabiba? Hello? Is there anyone in group 1 to graduate the mentee?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Priscilla.
Please go ahead, Ausbipuso.
Yes, I'll call out the mentee's name, and I don't know if Ausmatlala should say what we wanted to say immediately after me, or you will give her a chance later.
If she's in the room, then she can say it quickly.
Okay. We are graduating Agathulo Dlamini, and she attended all 6 sessions. We are proud of her, and we have learned a lot from her.
Okay. Congratulations. Can I come in?
Yes, please say a word or two.
Okay. First, I would like to thank everyone for this. It was really a prestigious honor for us to be in this group. And to Agathula, I'm saying you have it all in you. You are very grounded, very ethical, very smart and capable woman. All you can do is to go and shine. And I wish you all the best in all your adventures.
Yay.
It was really nice to be with you, working with you.
Thank you so much. And now I will graduate the mentors in room 1. Congratulations to Me Ausbupuso and Dr. Matlala Mabiba for being part of the session. Yay.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
We are now moving over to room 2. I will ask our Charity to graduate the mentors in that room.
Okay, first let me greet everyone in the room. Quite a sad day for me. And I just want to thank Sister A for inviting me to this community. It was great to be part of this initiative. It was worth every while. And to the founders of the G4G South Africa, to the coordinators, and well executed. I learned so much from this, from the speakers to the modules that we had, how they integrated with one another. I'm grateful for the life lessons, and I'm hoping that I'm going to use them going forward. I also learned a lot from this. And to our mentees, thank you very much. We lived to our values. They were committed. They made it up to this point. They were so excited about everything. We really had a good time, and we are hoping that we are going to take this forward. This is not the end. We're still going to meet and have a good time. So I have seen that most of them are already living the lessons that they've learned. Just want to congratulate Akuzwe for winning chairperson of the Asterhof Girls Residence. Yes, in tax. And I see people like Tumelo, they're already running businesses. And as one of our values that we will always support each other, we are doing that. We are already supporting each other every step of the way. I've seen that they've already formed a syndicate. We've got 3 social workers and a lawyer that they're going to form something out of it. So congratulations, ladies. When your peers were out there doing their own stuff, you just came here and did this. So Akuzwe. Okay, the first certificate goes to LC Kosa. Yes. Karabo Zwani. Tumelo Mnisi. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Woo! Yay! Congratulations to the 4 mentees that graduated from room 2. I will now graduate the mentors in that section. And that is, thank you to Sis Charity, my Fadi, and to Sister Alida Gekan. Thank you so much. We are now moving over to room 3, which is Team Possible. And I am going to ask Matt Joyce to say a word or two to the mentees, and we can proceed and graduate them.
Good day, everybody. Thank you for G4G UP, and special thanks to Rita, to Dr. Matiti. You know my personal situation and you encouraged me. I wanted to drop off, and here I am. To Team Possible, well done for making it. Many decisions will be made in your personal life, professional space, and social space. As we started, most of you indicated the lack of confidence. In the 6 sessions, we saw you rising up to be courageous. Trust was built. Go on, be not be defined, remain true to yourself. You are special, you are complete, you are unique. Go on with your purpose, honesty, wisdom. Life is a journey. Climb your Mount Kilimanjaro. Well done, Team Possible. Now, I want to shine a spotlight on our teams in Team Possible. Buitumelo Nhlapo, well done. Shine, Pula to you. Tsetselelo Pangela, well done. You said you had no confidence, but today we saw you shining. Tando Dlamini, well done. Tylene, our future medical practitioner, well done. Go up there, out there, arise and shine. Tando Dlamini, well done. Team Possible, we are family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joyce. Now in me graduating the mentors in that cycle, congratulations to Ms. Joyce for making it through, and you attended, you came through and you were available with us for all 5 sessions. And also thank you to Nani Kinzuza. The 2 of you were great mentors and great partners to work with throughout our 6 G4G sessions. Thank you so much, Pula, to you. We are now moving over to room 4. And I'm going to ask Pal to please take us through.
Sure. I'd like to just thank you, everybody, for this incredible platform. It really was an exciting, a beautiful, a phenomenal thing for us to be a part of. But I really just want to congratulate all of my queens on Ndlovukazi. May your crowns stay strong. May you inspire and influence and impact everybody you come into contact with. May honor and respect follow you everywhere you go. May your presence unlock the queenship in anyone that you come into contact with. I am so incredibly proud of you, and well done and congratulations.
Wow.
And I'd like to congratulate Buitoko. You are an absolute star, a leader in the making for sure. Lucy, you're an incredible, gentle soul. You actually remind me of Prof Madonsela. Your character is absolutely amazing. So proud of you, ladies. And Miriam, today was actually the first time we got to convince you to see your face. You speak up, you have a different perspective on everything, and that's absolutely beautiful. Congratulations. Dudu, I don't know what else to say. Always taking the initiative, really proud of you. You are my new family and I love you all. Congratulations, ladies.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul. With that said, the mentors in that circle, thank you so much to you, Paul, for taking.
You're muted.
Unmute, Priscilla.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Paul. I was saying thank you for being with the girls and for taking them through the journey and for being such an inspiration to them and in their lives and for those beautiful words that you've just said onto them. And thank you so much to Susan Malema for always being there and being supportive and pushing the girl through. We are now moving over to room 5. Can I ask that Sister Dr. Happy Satsiba takes us through?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. I have been excited and looking forward to our Saturdays. Now it has to be a sad ending. What an opportunity to learn. I loved every moment. I would like to congratulate our La Femme girls and give them a few words as we end the sessions. Dear La Femme girls, we have come this far and we are so proud of you. We've witnessed your commitment and courage, and we've seen true leaders in you. You have also demonstrated a fighting spirit as you broke out of your shells in pursuit of your true purpose. That has been quite amazing. We're so proud of you. That has such gravity, not afraid to learn. And in the process, you have taught us so much as we journeyed with you. May your journey ahead be revealing of your true purpose and your true potential. So go out, La Femme girls, go out there and shine your shine, girls. The sky shouldn't even be the limit. Now, I'll start with Kaylin. Kaylin van Dijk, congratulations, girl. Shine or shine. Our next girl is Cleliwe. Cleliwe France. You have outdone yourself, Cleliwe. We have witnessed that throughout the sessions. Thank you. And the next lady is Lebogang Nchabeleng. Lebogang, and yeah, thank you, Lebogang. Congratulations. And we finally have Tavonga Mazetese. Thank you very much. Go out there, shine your shine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tsepi. Now moving over to the mentees, congratulations to Evelyn and to yourself for taking the girls through and walking with them through this beautiful journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Showers to you.
Thank you.
We are now moving over to room 6, Basadi Kakopano. I am going to ask that Sis Lindiwe takes us through.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. So ladies, I'd like to start off first by thanking G4G. This has been a wonderful opportunity for all of us, mentors and mentees. And then to Basadi Bakopano. And then to Basadi Bakopano, I'd like to say we are really happy to share in this excitement of your graduation today. We are really so proud of you. Thank you for investing in your growth and in your leadership journey. And finally, I'd like to say the sky is the limit, just using Prof Cooper's words. Go on with the missions that you've identified, and you will only just improve and also have a wonderful contribution to our society. So I would like to graduate the following mentees: Wongiwe Ngonyama, Dineo Mailula, Emily Muleko, and Rebecca Madia. Well done, ladies.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Congratulations to the mentees in room 6. Now I will graduate the mentors in that circle. Congratulations to Juliet Vermeulen and to Lindiwe Soizwapi for taking the girls through and walking with them through this beautiful journey. Showers to you. And now we are moving over to room 7. Can I ask that Zarina takes us through the graduation process?
Thank you, Priscilla, and thank you to G4G UP and to my mentors my mentees for allowing me to be part of their process of development in G4G. It's been an inspirational journey, and I really look forward to hearing about the wonderful things that my mentees are going to aspire to. You are all passionate individuals with wonderful goals that illustrate how you are going to occupy leadership in coming years. I wish you all everything of the best, and I'm going to miss my girls so much. Congratulations on your achievement. Firstly, Bongiwe Ndlovu, Rapilang Keteya, Mansa Amoa, Kensani Shibambo, Tepang Lefete. I just want to say that I'm not going to say something individual about all of them because they all were a very chatty bunch and I loved every Saturday morning with you guys. So go well, everyone.
Wow. Thank you so much, Zarina, for that graduation process, and congratulations to the mentees in room 7. I will now graduate the mentors in that circle. Thank you, Zarina, to yourself and to your partner, mentor, who is not in today, Sindisiwe Mvango, for taking our girls through these beautiful 6 sessions. Thank you so much. Showers to you.
Thank you.
We're now moving over to room 8. Can I ask that Mulalo take us through the process? Mulalo?
Hi, everyone. My connection is even better. Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Mulalo?
Yes, so my mentor Grace and I are very proud of the G4G journey and the wonderful experience we went through. But mostly we're most proud of the mentees who came through and they really showed up. We saw them growing from strength to strength and they came out of their shell and it was beautiful to watch. Someone said investment in knowledge yields the best returns. And as mentors, we also learned valuable qualities from our mentees. And amongst those is generosity and the spirit of togetherness. So we are looking forward to learn more in our different individual perspectives. And we would just like to say to our mentees, onwards and upwards. And yeah, so the following are the mentees that are graduating.
Thank you so much, Mulalo. Congratulations to the 4 mentees.
We have Cynthia Sitole, Semane Mokotla,
Okay. I was saying congratulations to the 4 mentees that graduated in room 8. It was just the 4 of you, and all 4 of you attended all 6 sessions. Congratulations to all 4 of you. That's Preeminence Nkomo, Cynthia Sitole, Semane Mokotla, and Novesuthu Mahlangu. I will now graduate the mentors in that circle. I would like to say thank you to Meg Grace Saputa, and also to Mulalo Mulaudzi for taking the girls through these beautiful sessions, all 6, and for holding them by hand up until the very end. It really showed that you worked hard with them, considering they attended all 6 sessions. Thank you so much. We're now moving on to room 9, which is our past sisters. Can I ask Mobile to take us through?
Sure. Afternoon, everyone. I'm going to read what I've written to mind time. So thank you to each of the Power Sisters mentees for being present in every session. We all have learned together, we have laughed together, and I trust we've also grown together on this journey. You are all well on your way of being great leaders. I strongly believe so. And you have each have great value to add wherever you are planted. I look forward to seeing you all conquer your fears, and always remember to never trust your fears because they don't know your strengths. And on that note, we really do appreciate having spent time with you, and I trust that we will see each other again. And then I just want to congratulate the following Power System mentees for their dedication. Alexandra, thank you so much. Clarice, much appreciated. Mule, thank you. And Zitembiso, thank you so much, ladies.
Yay! Congratulations to the mentees in that room. You've made it, you've done it. Now I'll be graduating the mentors in that circle. Thank you so much, Nobile, for taking us through. Congratulations to you for being available and for holding the girls through, and to Tinashe as well. Your presence really meant a lot to the ladies. You held them and you guided them to date. Thank you so much. Showers to room 9. Now we're moving over to room 10, our game changers. Can I ask Sis Grace to take us through?
Thank you, Priscilla. I think a huge congratulations to the girls on behalf of Game Changers, myself and Feroza. Hillary, keep shining. You do remind us of Thuli Madonsela. Keep standing tall as you endeavor in your future opportunities that may come to fruition. Shakila, our business lady in our team, keep soaring in all your business adventures, and we are here to support you, myself and Feroza, together with the bigger Game Changers, and feel free to come through to us for anything that you need. Kyla, our gentle giant, keep pushing yourself. The thing about life is that you need to do things that are hard. Really, that's how you learn to grow a thicker skin as a person. Just know that we are here to be able to support you in anything that you need, and get out of that comfort zone so that you're able to somewhat be able to do things that will help you to grow at the end of the day. Sina, keep shining, young queen. Always seek platforms that will always allow you to grow in different facets of your life. You know, you're quite passionate about a lot of things which are also in the philanthropy space. Do what you can to also improve your networks and so forth, but always stand tall, always. In the true fashion, or in the African proverb, as it says, that it takes a village to grow a child. That's exactly how we see Game Changers, and I am because we are. And I think on our side, as Feroza and myself, is that the learning was a two-way street. We learned both ways, and it was a privilege to work with you guys, and always a delight. And it's not goodbye, it's just until later. Hillary Nkuna, Michaela Diitejo, Shakile Rasatela, Sina Mashaba.
Hey! Congratulations to the mentees in room 10, and thank you so much, Sis Grace. Wow, it really showed that you enjoyed your cycle and you enjoyed your mentees. You quoted and you said a speech about every one of them, about their personalities. Wow, wow. Now, congratulations to the mentors in that circle. Thank you so much, Feroza, for taking the girls through, and you, Aus Grace, for being with the girls throughout all 6 sessions. Thank you so much. Showers to you. I'm sure the girls have learned so much. We're now moving over to room 11, which is Girls in Motion, and I'm going to ask Unati to take us through.
Hi, everybody. I think first of all, I would like to thank the coordinating team for UP. It was definitely an incredible journey, and I would like to thank my co-mentor, Auntie Swa. I definitely couldn't have done this without you. So Girls in Motion, I think to you, as we said in our goodbyes today, well, not goodbyes, it's the see you laters, as that these are the ladies who are not going to live their lives with the Abantu Bazothini syndrome. They are going to go out there, they are going to be courageous leaders, they are going to be ethical, they are going to advocate not only for themselves, but for others as well. So my wish for them is to remember that success is not final, failure is not fatal, and it is the courage to continue that counts. So with that being said, I would like to shine the spotlight on Kurula Shikwambana, our future lawyer, who's very passionate. Mahlatsi Tau, great listener. Murphy Piri, servant leader in the making. Ntombizodwa Mahlangu. And Paulina Sitole, our quiet leader. Thank you, ladies. And Sima Mdanga as well. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Unati, for taking us through and for those beautiful and kind words. Mentees, I'm sure you guys will carry this journey through just beyond these sessions. And congratulations to yourself and Andiswa for being with the girls and for taking them through and for being available throughout all 6 sessions. Showers to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We're now moving over to room 12, which is She Unit. Can I ask Monet to take us through that?
Thank you, Priscilla. Sure, what a heartwarming or melting and indescribable moment. So thank you so much as we're graduating our mentees in group 12. I'd like to say, She Unit, you are goals. What a true inspiration of discipline, persistence, consistency, and determination. You know, as your mentors, we learned so much through you, and our connection is invaluable. So I've heard a statement, it's not a goodbye, but see you later. We're looking forward to your greater success stories. Continue to hold up your banner of excellence, rise up to new heights that await you, grounded on excellence. Thank you. So as we begin with our first certificate, it will go to Ivy Silinda. Our second certificate is to Sitembile Mabaso. She's a lady who has graduated this week with a Bachelor's of Applied Mathematics. So yes, the world is an oyster's tear. You are perfect as you are. And our third certificate goes to Tiamo Mashao. And our fourth certificate goes to Tsuho Malega. Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations to the mentees in She Unit. You've really walked the journey and have made it. Thank you so much to the mentors in room 12 as well for making it. Congratulations to Manek Mutapo for taking the girls through, and Yabi. Thank you, thank you. We're now moving over to room 13, and can I ask Edith to take us through?
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Matete, for this platform, and Rita for your leadership. It has really been a journey that is worth taking. To the resilient ladies, I have seen you starting from the word go, and how I sat down and looked at you today in the meeting. I was like, oh my God, these girls are all smiling. And to me, that warmed my heart. This journey has been special for me because through the lockdown, I've been locked up in my house. I don't have relatives here, but every Saturday morning, you have shared your journeys, you have shared your experiences, and I've seen you metamorphose like a butterfly. And now as I see you, you're ready to fly. fly high, my little butterflies, go into the world, change the lives of the people that you touch, speak to them like how you have spoken to us. Madame Elaine has not been able to see this, but I'm sure she's all up, up and dancing because she has seen you grow and seen you, and you have definitely made our work easier because you know what you're doing, you're powerful, you're fierce, and you are ready to go into the world and make it. Thank you. So congratulations, Bunolo. You've done a great job. Butle, thank you for being there. Ntombi Zodwa, you're all amazing. And Tenelo has not been able to come, but she has been also a very powerful force in this team. All 4 people have been amazing. They are powerful, they are so reflective, and I know that you'll go into the world and fly high, shine onto the lives of the people that you touch. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Edith, for those beautiful words to your mentees. I know May Elaine would have liked to be here with us so that she can see her girls graduate. And I would like to say congratulations to you for being with the girls and for taking them through up until this very last session. We're now moving over to room 14. Can I ask Messia Dimo to take us through?
Thank you very much, Priscilla. And somebody stole my line to say this is not a goodbye. So I'm going to say it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later again. Repeat myself or yourself. It's been a great honor, I think, and a privilege to know you girls, my 5 wonderful girls. And I just captured a few words that I think capture who you are and who you have become. I have seen strength, I have seen fierceness, I've seen resilience, and I've seen the power under your wings. You are such powerful girls, and you came in strong, but you're living stronger. And I just want to say to you, good luck in your efforts. Go out and find your stars. All of you have ambitions and goals that you want to achieve, that you still want to achieve in your life. I wish you the best of luck. And I just want to appreciate you for having shown the principles that are in our prayer for G4G, which is the support for each other. I've seen it in the circles when you support each other, when somebody, you're always trying to empower and give each other what do you call it, support in terms of the problems or the examples that you've given us in your life that you are having to deal with. And I'm saying just carry on that way, give each other support. And as I said, this is our village and we must keep this village going and we must keep this village growing. So I've offered myself as a mentor in the cohorts that you're going to create in your lives, because I know you are going to be great mentors also to other people in your lives. Thank you very much, and I love you. So we graduate Suvuko Mabunza, Lesego Holele, Lungile Mahlinza, Mapula Ramoshu, and Tembelihle Ngom. Thank you. You are a real force of life. Good luck.
Hey, wow, showers. Thank you so much, Messia Dimo, for taking us through. And I would like to say congratulations to your group, especially because they're one of the groups that started with us during session 2. And they made it throughout with all the sessions. And with you being the only mentor in that circle, and constantly you'll have guest mentors if it was not the guest speaker. Thank you so much. Shower to you. The certificate is for you. Congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you.
over to room 15, Muremi. Can I ask Natasha takes us through?
Hi everyone. I'm so happy and sad that this is our last session. Happy because the girls have grown so much, and sad because I feel like we could have done 6 more sessions. I've never really believed the narrative that women don't support each other, and this group of mentees has definitely shown me that I was right in thinking so. They've supported each other, they've been kind to each other, they've challenged each other, and more importantly, they've challenged themselves. Rena and I have watched in awe with how much they've grown over the last few months, and I hope all you girls, all you beautiful young women, you continue to invest in your growth and development. And you know that Rena and I in this little village that we've built since August, we will always be here for you. I truly believe that you guys embody Lala Delia's quote that says, "She remembered who she was and she changed the game." So congratulations to all of you, and I can't wait to see when the following young women change the world. Blessing, Temi, thank you so much for all your hard work in these last few sessions. Gift, you've been so honest, so forthcoming. It's been wonderful. Clara, you've chatted when you didn't want to. Linda, you're always talking. I love that you're so open and honest and upfront with us. Poppy, you've pushed yourself so much, and I know it's difficult, but you've really come out of your shell. And to Tasha, who's always willing to give feedback and, you know, be honest with us and be present. Thank you so much, guys. You've been incredible.
Thank you so much, Natasha, for those beautiful words. To your mentees, I'm sure they learned so much from you and Dr. Wilken, and for just walking this journey with them and for being patient and loving them so much. And now I would like to say congratulations to Dr. Rena Wilken and to Natasha Ali for taking the girls through all 6 sessions and for guiding and loving them so much. Showers to you. Wow. See, I even want to send flowers your way. So
yes, flowers and showers.
Flowers and showers, I love it.
Now, we are wrapping up. We are in our last room, room 16. Can I ask Meg Gloria take us through?
Unmute, Meg Gloria.
Thank you. I was just saying it's not easy to be the last one to say something in this graduation ceremony. And I can see something in my eye. No, I don't think so. It is tears of joy. This has been an amazing journey. And I think the time of counting stars come and pass. The time of counting towards this day also came and passed. To my mentees, I just want to say to you, every destiny has a journey, but not every journey has a destiny. But greatly ours had a destiny. There's an African proverb that says, food that is in the mouth, it's not yet in the belly. The journey is still long. In you, we had seen people with open hearts. You listened to us, myself and Rika. You engaged with us. We learned from you. And at the end, what we saw, it was that confidence in you that you can do it. There is still leadership in women. And yesterday, it was so great to see Princess posting to us, showing us that she was going to be on radio. We needed to watch channel 96.7 FM because you have shown passion in disability rights. So well done, and to all of you, keep on doing the good work. We are available to assist you at any time when you need us. And I'm shining the spotlight to Rita, our director, as well as to Dr. Madiba and the coordinating team, and to Bipusa Mashihu, who introduced me to G4G. Thank you. So I would like to congratulate our mentees, Neo Mushabi, well done. Lisa Nomatemba Dube, congratulations. You're repeating again, Neo Mushabi. Pabalo Mushabe, well done. Princess Sibanda, well done. Keep up the good work in terms of transformation. Sharon Bita, I think you're going to be one of our lawyers very soon. Nsibeng Kaku, thanks for joining us today from UJ. And thank you, Imbokoro.
Yay! Hula, showers. Thank you so much, Meg Grace, for those beautiful words and your heartfelt speech. It is from the heart. I'm sure the girls are embracing it, and they are going to miss you and Revka so much. Now I'm going to graduate the mentors in that circle, and I'd like to say thank you to you for taking the girls through, and to Rivka as well for holding the girls throughout all sessions and for all the love and patience. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Pula to all of you. Congratulations to all the mentors and the mentees that graduated and made it throughout the session. I think you all realize what this means. This means it is the end. Doom, 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 doom. We need to have a name roll up to say thank you. Thank you though so much. From me, before I hand over, I would like to say thank you to G4G RSA. Thank you to G4G Global as well for introducing this opportunity to our girls, to the University of Pretoria. If it wasn't for you all, I don't think we would have started this journey and impacted on so many girls' lives. In total, we graduated 67 mentees today. So thank you so much. Thank you. It is beautiful. And your cooperation and your coordination made it very beautiful. Thank you so much to Dr. Madiba, you, the University of Pretoria. So I'm saying thank you to my employer, you representing the institution. Thank you so much for allowing G4G RSA into the girls' lives and for them to get this opportunity and actually grow. Thank you to all the mentors for being here. I know you're connecting from different provinces, different towns. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for availing yourselves. Thank you so much for your time and your knowledge and your patience and for participating throughout with the prep sessions, with the activities in the groups, you communicating with the mentees and you being patient with the coordinating team. Thank you so much. And I also appreciate the mentors who joined from UJ. I know there was a time when we started, when you had to attend 2 sessions in one day. Thank you. That shows dedication. It shows the love. It shows that you really, really want to make this work for the girls. So, Bula to you. And thank you so much to the mentees. Oh, my life. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and invest in yourself. You have invested in yourself. This is the beginning. Please take through the lessons that you got from G4G and implement them in your lives and shine, just shine the spotlight. I will be sending through your certificates. Look out for them and they're going to work like beautifully in your lives. So thank you so much to this family. Thank you. I started at home with G4G, to UP, to the mentors, to the mentees, and rounding off to the coordinating team. Thank you so much for making my life easy. It was a very long journey, but with you walking this journey with us, we made it. Thank you so much. I love you all so much, and I am going to miss our Saturdays. I am going to miss days. I'm just going to miss this whole thing. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Over to you, facilitator.
Thank you. I know that Priscilla is one of those who will be suffering from withdrawal symptoms. I'll do my best to support you, even if I don't know how I'm going to do it. But thank you, Priscilla. You've been such an engine. You've propelled us. You were so meticulous, paying attention to every little detail, making sure that nothing falls in between the cracks. You are a star. Thank you so much. But you know, there are some temptations that are so hard to avoid falling into. You know, as if it has not been enough, I get this notification from Exclusive Bookshop that there's 50% of books and I can spoil myself and my loved ones. Now, it's a serious temptation. There are mentees who've attended 6 out of 6 sessions. And Priscilla, don't faint, don't get a shock. I won't break your budget. This one is not on you. It is from a very ethical source also. So let's work out all those mentees and mentors who sacrificially attended 6 out of 6. I know that life happens. For those who were not able to attend all the sessions, I know that in some cases it is not even your doing. I've seen how a lot of you have struggled with connectivity and you'd be thrown out of sessions. But a lot of you have really gone beyond those struggles and fought hard against those obstacles. So I want to take Exclusive Books on their offer and make sure that everyone who attended 6 out of 6 gets an extra book in their pack. And Priscilla, just make sure that you chase after me so that this is the reality. By the time you go to Pepsi Cola those parcels, I want to make sure that those who deserve this extra incentive get it. Beautiful women, you've made our inaugural journey at UP to be extra, extra special. I'm so glad that our big boss has seen how this journey has been. So he's not only at the mercy of our words and our Facebook posts when we tell him it has been great, he has seen for himself. And for the lovely speakers that we've had, it has been so great. I know I owe them so much. And I don't know how I'm ever going to repay them. They've made our inspirational journey to be truly inspirational. And I'm so thankful. Mentors, you've been so dedicated. It's humbling. It is really humbling to give away your Saturdays and to plow in this way. May showers and showers of blessings follow you through. To the G4G SA family, Rita, your team of directors, and your support systems, including your daughter and the whole family clan that you've dragged into this movement, we are forever thankful. I know this is not the end. There must be there is already a network for mentors. There is an alumni network for mentees. So let's spoil ourselves. When we get invitations for G4G, we know what it is all about. So let's make sure that we don't miss out. And may the showers of G4G keep on spreading and showering everyone. We can spend the rest of today just saying thank you and thank you. And from the bottom of our hearts, we are really thankful. You've been extra special, each one of you. Thank you so much. Rita, you can have the last word.
I know everyone is tired, but I will start, I'll end where I started. In the beginning, I said leaders are not born, they are made. And I'm really hoping that every young girl, you see yourselves as leaders, unconvincingly so. But I will also tell an African proverb. I think it's very similar to the one that Gloria talked about. They say that the baby that travels on the mother's back cannot tell you where the stones on the road are. So we know this is a traditional woman who has to walk a certain path all the time. The way I see it is that the mentors have been the mommy, and then the mentees have been the ones on the back. But you've been looking at this road, you've seen the lessons, you've heard the lessons, but it is still at a conceptual level. The only way you're going to be able to become masters in the skills and the frameworks that have been taught to you is by now putting your feet on the ground. Please start applying the lessons. Stay in touch with us. The alumni group has been specially developed for you. That's where you will see scholarships coming up. It's where you now have a chance to run for office. You know that we are running for that right now. It is also a home where the mentors that want to give more shall come to, and the mentees who want more. Maybe you want to read a balance sheet. Maybe there are things bigger than what you've learned at G4G. That is the forum where you will be able to articulate it. So that is to tell you, like everyone has said, this is not the end. Really, it's one big village now in the alumni where we move forward together. And already the other countries are asking, like Uganda, how can we plug into South Africa? The journey is big, like Matete likes to say. So let's stay together as a village, we stay intact. But I think that my final word is really to say thank you to the coordinating team. There's a lot of work, you have no idea, that goes into delivering this session. Matete, I think, attended like 3 trainings, so did Priscilla, and they hadn't yet started the journey. And then they started the coordination journey where they were actually executing themselves. And the diligence and the excellence to which they brought themselves to these sessions cannot be underestimated. There was never a 70% or let's go for 80%. With Matete and Priscilla, it was always going for 100% at a minimum. If not, we're shooting for 110%. And that is the excellence I hope all of you, the mentees, as you walk forward, even the mentors, as you start your next circles, this is the standard that we're looking for. For me, I can retire today, knowing very well that you know what has been set in place is fantastic. The mentors, you have been amazing. The professionalism with which you have undertaken G4G, it's as if you were being paid to do this. It's as if, you know, it was amazing. And I could see it in the quality of what the girls were saying. So it's been an excellent ride. It is not the end. We stay in touch and we're going to change South Africa together. Pula.
Pula. Until we meet. This is not the end.
It isn't.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Close off with the bang, Dini.